mid-wicket was through the fielding slightly early as well.
Another one, Chloe Brewer, who I think she's currently out of the game at the moment, injured.
Injured at the moment, having started the season well. Perrin drives firmly on the bounce, back to the bowler. And just the one scoring stroke from the first over for Davina Perrin. The Bears 4 for none, having chosen to bat with this lineup after Perrin and Freeborn. Izzy Wong carded to come in at 3, the quick bowler, playing up the order perhaps as a pinch hitter. Stair Callis, the Netherlands international, and Laura Harris, big hitting Australian who often opens the innings. Katie George carries Pavley, Amu Suran Kumar, and then 3 more spinners as well as Pavley. The captain Georgia Davis, Millie Taylor bowling left arm wrist spin, and Hannah Baker bowling leg breaks. So 4 spinners, I reckon, in the Bears lineup.
Well, the second over, it will be Catherine Bryce from the Radcliffe Road end. The developments down at the Pavilion end, the Stuart Broad end, of course, as it's known now, means that majority of the players changing at this end. I think the Bears women they were arriving for their net practice from the far end behind the Pavilion, so they may be using the squash courts or something like that. Here we go then, Catherine Bryce bowling to Abby Freeborn, and her first ball into the covers has eluded the fielder and got away for 4. Might be just a little greasy out there. That's a couple of players that we've seen slip over, and away for 4.
It's quite humid at the moment, isn't it? There has been this.
There's Catherine Bryce in again. Nice start for Freeborn. That would have just drifted down the leg side, and they scamper through for a leg bye. Quick to change ends. Our umpires are Gabby Brown and Simon Widdup, who played a little bit of cricket for Yorkshire back in the day. Match referees Simon Hinks, and our scorers for this one, Neil Fennick and Sam Stringfellow. So Davina Perrin down at the far end. Bryce is going to go round the wicket to it. She's got a plan. And Perrin, slightly cramped for room, just helps it to mid-wicket, fielded by Ella Claridge. And there's no run. 9 without loss. The Bears winning the toss, opting to bat first, want to put runs on the board, which they'll hope to defend in the second part of the afternoon. Of course, both these sides got to the County Cup Finals day at Taunton last Monday. This has worked on the leg side. They'll get a single. Both are defeated at the semi-final stage. Birmingham 10 without loss. We've got Birmingham on the scoreboard. It is the Bears now, isn't it?
They're certainly pushing Bears rather than Birmingham Bears, particularly for the Bears, for the women's team.
Bryce to Freeborn, and she'll get this away for her second boundary of the over. This has been a nice positive start. Runs haven't been too hard to come by in the early stages here. Lovely shot away, square of the wicket on the offside, out towards the Fox Road stand.
Very powerful square of the wicket player, Abby Freeborn. If the length is a little bit short, it wasn't very short, but punched it hard through that gap.
We've already had 10 runs in this over, 9 from the bat and a leg bye, and there'll be well, there's going to be more here. Again, it might be an addition to the extras column. It's gone down the leg side, and they're going to push hard and run 3. That's really good running there. Perrin was very keen to push Freeborn for that third one. So 3 more leg byes. 17 without loss after 2 overs represents a very decent start here.
Yeah, it was a very productive over, and Bryce punished a little bit for straying down the leg side. They picked up runs on both occasions, but when she was wide of off stump, Freeborn punched hard for a couple of boundaries through the covers. So a difficult start for Catherine Bryce. There's a time limit of 75 minutes to be starting the final over. I don't think that will trouble either of these two teams unduly, but the umpires won't allow the batters to be in conference for too long. 17 for none. One or two people coming into the ground all the time. But if you are able to get, if you're listening in, but able to come to Trent Bridge and got a ticket, remember, if you have a ticket for the game later, you have a ticket for this one as well. So do come if you can. 17 for none. Ballinger to start the third over, falling foot to Freeborn for the first time, who is very respectfully defending a full straight delivery up to mid-off.
Of course, a lot of the young ones are on half-term at the moment. Nice goodly number inside the ground already.
Yeah, I think every team in the country, I know there were a couple of games last night, weren't there, but all the counties are in action today, and for those with Tier 1 level women's teams, like the Blaze and the Bears, that means double headers. Ballinger bowls, and Freeborn swipes the line, catch hold of it, and they take, don't take a short single because Freeborn's run out at the non-striker's end. A direct hit runs out Abby Freeborn for 8 in the third over, and the Bears' first wicket falls at 17, called for a short run that in the end was too short for Abby Freeborn.
It was a wonderful bit of work by... It was a direct hit. Abby Freeborn, 2 boundaries in her 8, and was quite some way short of her ground. Great first involvement for Maddie Green, new Blaze overseas player here for the early part of the season.
Well, it was Freeborn's call. Perrin is appreciably quicker over the ground than Freeborn and had no problem making it, responding to the call. But I think Abby Freeborn would have known quite soon that a direct hit was going to leave her in trouble. So she departs for 8 on a former home ground. She's a former Trent Rockets player. That's where the photograph of Abby Freeborn on the scoreboard is from. But as Perrin comes to strike, Izzy Wong has come in, the quick bowler, pushed up the order to give it some of the long handle, but she's at the non-striker's end at the moment. As Ballinger bowls to Perrin, who works this not quite past backward point. And they do take 1, but a super diving stop prevents that otherwise probably being 4.
Yeah, Michaela Kirk there. Good bit of work from her at backward point. Crucial positioning.
2 boundary fielders, a little straighter at mid-wicket. There's a deep backward square leg out as well. Ballinger bowls for the first time to Wong. Cramped for room, drives firmly but straight to mid-on. And if they can pierce the field, then the outfield responds. But at the moment, the inner circle of Blaze fielders, 5 ring on the offside, are managing to cut off plenty of these. Mid-wicket in the circle creeps a bit closer. Ballinger left arm over. Wings back late, and Wong trying to guide it late down to third, misses it, and it wasn't very far away from the off stump.
Lovely full delivery from Grace Ballinger. You're getting the a blast of music. We've got a new location for the DJ this year. That's high up at the back of the Smith Cooper stand, the stand on the Bridgeford Road side of the ground. Got a good vantage point up there, hasn't there, the DJ?
It has. Ballinger bowls, and Wong gets a drive away, and it forces the error
Marie Kelly
at mid-on by Kelly, so they'll take 1. So Wong away with a single, and 3 overs are complete, 19 for 1. Yeah, for newcomers to Trent Bridge, or those maybe coming along later for the first time, that stand on the Bridgeford Road with the angle of this ground, because it is an unusually shaped playing area, and the pitch is slightly over to that side today, so you're going to, down the front of that stand, you're going to feel right in the firing line.
Yeah, it's got its plus points. The other side of that is, of course, with the roof on and the sun generally, not that we've got a deal of sun setting on that side of the ground. They often call it the fridge. It can get a little chilly in there, but like today, when the strip is closest to the Smith Cooper stand, you do really feel that you're involved.
It's a stand in which you have to pay attention. You can't drift off in there.
No, there'll be 1 or 2 end up in there today. either this game, well, probably both games. Here's Catherine Bryce. First over was quite expensive, but the fourth over of the match begins with a full pitch delivery to Izzy Wong, which she was unable to time, but gets it away on the leg side for a single. And the Bears have 20 at the start of the fifth over. Wicket to Perrin, who's on 6. She does it again and once more into the pads. One more taken. Bears come to Trent Bridge here, looking to knock over last year's Charlotte Edwards Cup winners. This will be, I think, a big feather in their cap if they can start the season with a win here. The blast season is another push to mid-on, another shy at the stumps, narrowly missed, and that was a little risky. Very, very close. Marie Kelly again coming in from mid-on. She's very much in the game there. Bears playing push and run to it.
That wasn't a very good run at all, really.
Well, it would have been another run out.
It was three quarters of a run, but yeah, got away with that one.
22 for 1. Perrin on 6, and she's cleared the inner ring here, but this one will plug a little bit, and Marie Kelly will again do the fielding. Keeps them to 2 this time. Fielding that ball on one of those dry patches here at Trent Bridge. The last few weeks have really been cruel on the grass out there.
Yes, I imagine the ground staff weren't have budgeted for it. You wouldn't, would you?
No.
To have a near drought in April and May.
Perrin's moved on to 8, and we'll get a boundary here. That's perhaps the shot of the innings so far. It was a nice textbook pick-up and loft over extra cover and away for 4. Lovely shot indeed from Davina Perrin. Moves into double figures. She's got 12 out of a Bears score of 28 for 1.
See, the round the wicket line, I think he's fine. And where she's been up to now to Perrin, full and around middle and leg, that's worked. But angling it across onto the offside, I think he's right in the slot for Davina Perrin. And especially if she can get the ball airborne in the early overs, it's going to be 4.
Little word from the bowler from her captain, Kirsty Gordon. Next delivery down the leg side, and that'll be another leg by, I think. Have a look at umpire Gabby Brown. Yep, raising the right knee and giving it a tap. 29 for 1. That's after 4 overs here on BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC WM, CWR online, and on the live stream brought to you by Trent Bridge Live. Lots of places you can pick us up. I think Ballinger's going to have a 3rd over here, so they're really looking just to utilise it. Very much top heavy here at the start of the Bears innings. Grace Ballinger already 2 overs, none for 6. An excellent start from her.
I wonder what score the Bears have in mind. There's not much precedent here, really, to go on for, other than we know that Trent Bridge, last season's men's game excepted, when the Bears came here, it was a bit of a freak, but generally has been pretty high scoring on the whole in T20 cricket. But what that means an implication for this game is hard to judge. Freeborn is caught at extra cover, driving a full delivery. It was in that slot that she iced a few moments. Perrin, who looked as though was just starting to find some timing, goes for 12, and the justification is there for keeping Ballinger going. Perrin caught Elvis bowled Ballinger 12, and it's 29 for 2.
Yes, I think the Blaze will be very pleased they've just picked her off there, just as he was commenting, Mike. Davina Perrin just starting to unload a little bit. It was a lovely shot in the last over. Tried to repeat it here, but not enough elevation, and it was nicely taken by Georgia Elwis, almost in front of her chin. Nice comfortable catch. So at the start of the 5th over, 29 for 2. In answer to your question, what sort of score will they be looking for? You put it to the coaches, they get greedy, don't they?
Yeah.
Just as many as we can get.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, they do, but that's a problem, isn't it? I mean, we've seen lots of occasions in the men's game where a team comes out and you think, well, they're trying to score 220 here, and after 4 overs, they're 20 for 5, and that's it.
Yeah.
Then, and you're scrambling to get 120, whereas if you set out to get 160, you more often get them, at least you're in the game. What that means for this game, I don't know, but we'll see. Ballinger bowls, And it's a rather airy stroke from Stair Callis, the number 4. Misses a ball angled across, goes through to the keeper. I imagine that each of these games, with relatively new teams, I know some of the Tier 1 sides have kept the nucleus of the previous Blaze and the Sparks, but nevertheless quite newish teams in a new competition. There'll be a lot of learning in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think, about things like that. Ballinger bowls all fuller and wider, so wide that Stair Callis, having tried to shuffle across the crease to play it, nearly overbalances, but for the first time it's signalled wide by umpire Widdop.
She needed a sweeping brush rather than a cricket bat there to try and reach that one. Because both these sides back in action tomorrow. It's a really hectic introduction to the start of the competition.
Yeah, quick turnaround, 14 games to fit in, just equivalent to the men's competition. This is full, and they appeal for LBW against Callis, but turned down by umpire Widdop. She's swinging the ball in towards the leg, towards the pad, so it can't have been too far out. But Callis survives that. 30 for 2.
Yes, the Blaze are with the Outlaws at Old Trafford tomorrow against the Lightning. Lancashire women match starting at 12, the men at 4.
Ballinger bowls, and Callis gets into an awkward position, sort of pointing at mid-wicket, and hits it directly. Green.
Tell you what, the umpires are on red alert at the moment because the running's a little bit hit and miss, and probably say the same for the throw-in.
30 for 2. They've certainly had a few chances. That might have been another one. Down the pitch comes Callis, and he sits on the pad so far forward that it's unlikely to be given for that, and it's wriggled past the fielder at short third, and so they're going to get 2 leg byes. I don't think that would have been a terrible shout necessarily, except that Callis had gone so far down the pitch, it would have been an act of faith to give that out, LBW.
Yes, there had to be an element of doubt, didn't there? Don't know as it would have necessarily gone over the top.
32 for 2. And Ballinger to complete. Callis in the air, dropped at extra cover. Tipped over the bar by Catherine Bryce, as it were, and they're going to get 2. Callis is going to bounce back for that. It was hit hard at about head height.
Similar to the sort of height that Georgia Elwis took her catch, but Catherine Bryce unable to hang on. 34 for 2 after 5 on a cloudy old day in Nottingham. Good visibility though, see an aeroplane just descending into East Midlands Airport, just going over the top of the Batman board at the far end of the ground. I think we're going to get a first bowling change, and it's going to be the Blaze skipper, the Scotland international, the England player, of course. She was away in the winter with the England A side down in Australia. Kirsty Gordon, slow left arm spinner to come on. She'll be bowling to Izzy Wong to begin with, and this is the last over of the power play. How will Izzy Wong go about it? Will she give Gordon a little bit of respect? No, first ball she just heaves it down the ground. Marie Kelly had been nudged out onto the long on fence and keeps them to 1. Good strong arm. 35 for 2. Wong on to 4. Stair Callis taking guard. She's not been down that end before. She's got a couple of runs. Players out Abby Freeborn for 8 and Davina Perrin for 12. There's Kirsty Gordon on the wicket. Just a little bit of turn there, and again it's run to backward point and a slight misfield. They'll settle for 1.
Did turn a bit, didn't it?
Did.
The Bears team has a wide selection of spinners in it, so maybe both teams have had a look.
36 for 2. Next delivery on its way now, and slammed through the offside by Izzy Wong for
Wong. It was a wonderful clean strike, but it owed more to power than well, it was a particular technique for the shot, wasn't it? In that the bat was a very long way from her feet at the moment of contact, but it was hit hard.
First helicopter of the day goes over the ground. Gordon in again to Izzy Wong, and that's a really nice cricket shot. Just rocked back, giving herself a little bit of room. Nice square cut, very elegantly played, back-to-back boundaries, just giving the Bears total a little bit of impetus here as we come towards the end of the power play. Back-to-back fours, that won't sit well with the Blaze skipper Kirsty Gordon.
No, can't be short at that pace. And again, not very short, but well played.
Comes in again to Izzy Wong, down the track this time, and plays it hard into the ground, and Gordon just slightly moving to her left, intercepts. .44 for 2, last ball in the power play, and driven down the ground by Izzy Wong for a single, so that's the 6 overs done and dusted. 45 on the board, which I think both sides will take a modicum of comfort from, because the Bears have just increased the tempo towards the end of the power play after losing Freeborn when the score was on 17 and Perrin when it was on 29. But the Blaze also, I think they'll be equally happy picking up a couple of wickets in the first 6.
Yeah, something for everybody in that 6 overs.
Yeah.
In that there could easily have been 3 or 4 more wickets, frankly. there were a couple of very awkwardly judged runs.
It's been a mixed bag from the fielding side. There's been a routine chance put down. There's been 2 or 3 missed fields, but there's also been a good catch and an excellent run out. So they're in turn pleasing the coaching staff and leaving 1 or 2 things to work on.
Georgia Elwis is going to bowl now from the Stuart Broad end, as I should more correctly call it now, but the pavilion end. And here she is, right arm over the wicket to Wong with an enormous flailing stroke. Heaves this away through mid-wicket, and they want to and should get it out to the boundary. So now we're through the first 6 overs, the more relaxed field restrictions. The fielders can't just wander wherever. Still have to be 5 inside the circle.
I think you could also call it the building site at the far end.
Well,
I think everybody would know what you mean.
You could. Elwis goes close to the stumps, and Wong plays this sufficiently late to end up with one hand off the bat, but manages to hit it out to deep backward point for 1. So Wong up to 16, justifying her promotion.
Yeah, spur up the order there in that sometimes tricky number 3 position in the power play and play a few shots. She's perfect.
Back with the Bears after the difficult year or so. Elwis bowls, and Kelly is so early through the shot here that it's taken high on the thigh pad. She was already pointing at square leg by then.
I was already looking towards square leg by then.
Yes, it's a well disguised slower ball from Elwis. Yeah, Wong had a couple of lone spells out, and 1 or 2 lost a sort of place in England, but back in that fold now. They're not playing with England today. This is guided right from the top of the bounce by Callis to backward point for 1. The England team incidentally playing a first one-day international against West Indies at Derby, and were 160 for none in 29 overs when I looked a few moments ago. So, like the men yesterday, setting up for quite a big score against West Indies.
Yes, that was a bit of a hammering, wasn't it?
Jacob Bethel got his golf shots out. Elwis bowls another slower ball. Wong's right underneath this and caught at extra cover. So 49 for 3. It was the end of the power play, but Wong was very much going to always carry on and play in that vein, which is fair enough. But Elwis, not so much a variation in pace as a reduction in pace. A succession of slower balls in that over, nonplus the batters, and now dismissed. Wong caught by Claridge for 16. It's 49 for 3.
Yes, he was at the crease for almost 20 minutes, faced 13 balls, couple of 4s. Nice shots, back-to-back boundaries off Kirsty Gordon in the previous over, but now she's gone, and again, Bears have got to start again in building a partnership. Already 3 down, we're only in the 7th over.
They do have power, especially with, well, it looks like they're holding Laura Harris back for now. a noted big hitter, especially in Australia. And we're going to see Katie George at number 5. So that they're not short of batting ability, but the innings does feel at a bit of a crossroads here. And I think they do now have to decide what are we trying to score here, folks, because they've taken a lot of risks in these first 7 overs. Some of them have come off, but they've lost 3 wickets, and now it's decision time, I think. Are you going to keep the hammer down and risk losing more wickets, or try and accumulate for a bit? That's often the shape of T20 innings, between the sort of 6 finish. We'll see whether the Bears are going to do that. George again through the stroke early, gets a run to backward point, and it's the end of a successful first over for Georgia Elwes, in which she had Wong caught at extra cover, and 50 for 3 the Bears in 7 overs after choosing to bat.
Another musical interlude here at Trent Bridge. Dave Bracegirdle and Mike Taylor with you, watching on the start of the Vitality T20 last. Is it going to be Kirsty Gordon to continue? It is. The Bears skipper from this, the Radcliffe Road end.
My attention is caught by a Bears fan in not quite full kit, but well and truly away. Only 7 overs into what could be an 80 over day, but already deeply into the boogieing along to it. I mean, who wouldn't boogie along to it? I dare say you've done a bit of bopping to Elvis in your time yourself, Dave. I shouldn't wonder, but yeah, the music stops and she's still going.
It's Kirsty Gordon. This is driven crisply up to mid-off. Another shy at the stumps. It's a little way off this time, and they were momentarily interested in an overthrow, but it didn't happen. But again, push and run. Yeah, it's a long time since I had any blue suede shoes or anything resembling.
Don't disabuse your listeners of the notion, Dave. Theatre of the mind and all that. But no, well away. Look, the music stops. You can. Perhaps on a sponsored dance, like those folks who dance around the marathon. It's a long time, 80 over day. Look to keep that up. Very good.
Yeah, you can't go too early. Next ball on its way now, and this is nudged to mid-wicket. There's no run. Callis on 4. I just watched the old darts on TV last night. There was bears and there was all sorts of things, Teletubbies and heaven knows what else. As Gordon bowls, and this is a nice clean swing of the bat, and it will go all the way down the ground for the first 6 of the competition for Stair Callis. Kirsty Gordon not overly amused. In fact, she's just concentrating on who's going to bowl at the far end, I think. Nice shot there from Callis. Lovely clean pick up, lifted it over the head of Maddie Green, who's down here below us. She's never really in the game. It was always too high. Over long on. 57 for 3. Next ball is an attempted reverse, and she's got enough on that, Callis, to at least pick up. Well, it's run away very, very quickly, and it's gone for 4, in fact. Initially, I didn't think she got it as cleanly as she would have wished, but despite 2 fielders being in hot pursuit, it just ran away for 4. Very slightest of slopes to 61 for 3, so Callis. And she's going to be bowled. She's moved outside her off stump and has been bowled. Just looking, I think the previous ball went on the extras column, so didn't get anything on it. And now Callis has really squandered a wicket there. She went so far outside her off stump and down to play the slog sweep, and has missed it and been cleaned up, comprehensively cleaned up by Kirsty Gordon. So Callis out for 10. 61 for 4. Crikey, this game rattling along at a good old tempo here.
I'm not sure they have this right, Dave.
No.
It feels like they've played so far as like the whole thing is the last 6 overs.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a 10 over game, isn't it?
It's been, that was, especially having picked up 10 runs from the previous 2 balls.
Yeah.
That was a rather reckless stroke in the circumstances.
So the left-handed Caris Pavley's out there, coming in the 8th over. 1 ball left in the 8th over. 61 for 4. Kirsty Gordon getting her first wicket. She's gone for a few runs here, unusually for her. She's usually quite miserly in the economy rate.
Signal 4 leg buys the one before, by the way, which was unusual.
Went so quickly.
It did.
So final ball of the over. Carries Pavely to see it off, no doubt, and then a little bit of a chat with Katie George at the other end while she's turned it away and she's off the mark. She's run that first one so quickly. That's good. Put pressure on the fielder, but there'll only ever be one there. So Pavely will keep strike. It's 62 for 4 after 8 overs. The Bears winning the toss and taking, I guess some would see it as a bold decision to bat first. Let's put the runs on the board and then try and defend it with our spinners. But so far, I think they're feeling they've not quite got where they want to be. The balance, as Mike's been saying, not quite right. 62 is okay in 8 overs, but the loss of 4 wickets that early on in the innings was a little bit of a blow to them.
So we're going to have another bowling change, I think, at the pavilion end. And this is going to be Josie Groves for the first time. So more spin. And I suspect that after 3 overs of Ballinger, potentially 1 more to go later, he's very much going to be the left-handed Pavely bunts it down to long on for 1. So there is an... I mean, in 2020 cricket generally, remember when T20 started 20 odd years ago, it was going to be the death of the spinners, you remember that?
Yeah.
And now, in this game alone, I'm sure we'll see more later, a great array of different, every flavour of spin in this game. Here's Groves bowling right arm wrist spin, and that was hit very hard and straight by George and cut off at long on, well fielded, and they get 2 runs. But yes, this is going to be a tapas selection of spinners, I think, in the course of this game, with Groves adding wrist spin to the box now.
I think she's doing long on to long on at the moment, Marie Kelly. That's a good stop.
Keep you fit. 65 for 4. And this is hit meatily in the air by George. Got lots of that. That's going to be 4. And it carried nearly all the way to probably the longest boundary on the playing area.
Yeah, the rope actually is quite a long way out, isn't it? Very often do see it brought in and obviously leave a little bit of room for all the speakers around the boundary edge, and I'm sure there'll be a few fireworks later on as well. I saw the firework company just unloading their van when I arrived.
Down the pitch comes Pavely and meets the next one from Groves on the bounce and pushes it with a straight bat for 1. That's George, I should say, up to 9. So 70 for 4. And trying to keep the hammer down, the Bears. Still got Laura Harris, so a little surprisingly he's been held back. Now we swish across the line from Pavely. Hit that hard out towards the short boundary, and it's smartly fielded, so they will only get 1. I assume I've seen games in the past at various grounds where the boundaries moved out after the women's game, but I suspect that probably isn't going to be the case here today.
Might even move it in a bit.
Well, yes. You certainly can't move it out on the Bridgeford Road side of the ground. There's not a great deal of room on the other side, so it is a slightly uneven size playing area.
It's as big as you get, Trent Bridge, at the moment.
I think it probably is. 1 hand off the bat here for George, having made ground down the pitch to meet this one from Groves. Hits it to extra cover. End of the over. 71 for 4 in 9. Pavely 3 and George 9, having already lost. Freeborn 8, Perrin 12, Wong 16 and Callis 10. So a very mixed bag in the first 9 overs, but the
and I think there were a few extras to throw in there as well. Comes out of the attack, and Cassidy McCarthy will be the 6th bowler to be used.
Going to bring another quick on now after what I was just saying earlier, but nevertheless we've already seen Groves, and I mean Elwes was very much bowling slowish deliveries. Kirsty Gordon we've seen as a spinner. The Bears will have Hannah Baker bowling leg breaks, Georgia Davis bowling off breaks, Millie Taylor left arm wrist spin, And Pavely bowling slow left, orthodox left arm spin. So, yeah, that's just about covered the lot between the two teams, isn't it? So.
Bowler McCarthy and Captain Gordon have sorted out their field, and here she comes then round the wicket, and that one was down the leg side. Caris Pavely went to try and pull it away and very nearly gloved it through to Sarah Bryce. Keeping wicket, didn't quite carry to the Scottish international keeper. A little bit leg-sidey from Cassidy McCarthy. First ball, she comes again round the wicket, and again, and there's a little bit of a mix-up there, and McCarthy shies at the stumps at this end, and Katie George was scrambling to make her ground. Once again, a miscommunication between the two runners out there.
Yes, Katie George sort of run about 1.5 there altogether, and they go and have a quick conference about it.
Happy Freeborn might be just quietly smouldering. The only time they've hit the stumps was, was when I was out there, she might be thinking. She was run out well short of her ground. McCarthy in again. This one's short and dragged down into the ground. They will take a single this time, although Kirsty Gordon just says, have some of that, Brace Girdle, because she knocks out the middle stump with an accurate throw, but Pavely was safely home. Single takes her to 4, 72 for 4. Can't believe we're right at the end of May and it's the middle of the afternoon and it's as gloomy as it is. We should be thankful that it's dry, but it's pretty gloomy. It wouldn't necessarily be the biggest surprise in the world if the floodlights come on. I don't think we quite need them right now, but it is fairly gloomy out there, as I say, considering the time of day. So McCarthy now for the first time to Katie George, 4th ball of the over, and again leg side here. This one was banged in short. They'll get a single as Katie George pulls it out to deep backward square.
I'm going to ease to one side in the next few moments, and Clive Eakins going to join you, Doug.
As always, Mike, been an absolute joy. More from Mike, no doubt, throughout the day with us here at Trent Bridge. McCarthy then round the wicket, and Grace couldn't hang on, moving sharply to her right, got both hands to it. She's saved a boundary there, but potentially should have caught that. Got both hands to it. It was crisply struck, but down it went.
A couple of chances have gone down, haven't they?
Just saying, it's a mixed bag from the fielding side, isn't it? They've taken a couple of decent catches, but spilled a couple. This one's edged and past the diving Sarah Bryce, and they'll pick up a single to conclude the 10th over. 76 for 4. That's the voice of Clive Eakin. Again, delight to see Clive, or welcome Clive back to Trent Bridge. Was there at Edgbaston earlier on in the season, and you were AWOL. You were still on footy duty then, Clive. But nice to see you for the first time in a while.
I wasn't. I'm out of a half the game, so I wasn't on that one. Yes, it reminds me a little bit of West Indies Maine yesterday in terms of the field. Took some absolutely brilliant catches, but then also put some down. England's women aren't going too badly. I don't know if you mentioned this.
I think it was 103 last time.
200 without loss
great.
after 33 overs. Tammy Beaumont on 92 and Amy Jones, formerly of the Warwickshire Parish,
all blaze,
is on 95.
I think this was the end Mike was doing.
That's turned around her pads by Pavely for 1. Yes, she's at Blaze now, isn't she? Is he at Blaze, Amy Jones? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously away with England. Emma Arlett's done very well, so she might not get her back to how things are going, but she's done very well for England. Izzy Wong just picked for the first couple of games, did pretty well, but she's here and has already made a contribution with the bat. And the trick for the Bears now is to keep some wickets in hand.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1 or 2. I think we'll feel they've left some runs out there, Clive.
I think so. But in comes Elvis. That's hit in the air, but it's safe. There's 2 fielders out there. Might go right between the 2 of them. Perfectly placed by Katie George. That's a really good shot for 4. She's on to 14. The boundary on that side is actually pretty long. Here at Trent Bridge, boundaries can be sometimes quite short. And on the offside, as Katie George is batting, it's quite short. But out there on the onside, it's a long boundary.
Yeah, we were just saying, I mean, you don't very often get the boundary as as far out. This is as big a playing area as you generally get at Trent Bridge. Got to leave a bit of room for the hover cover, of course.
Indeed. In comes Elvis, and that's a good delivery. It's come off the pads. I think we'll find out whether there's any bat in it in a moment. But they're through for one. They are indeed through for a leg bye. Very elegantly singled by the umpire. 82 for 4. We're in the 11th over.
From the
So this next one is hit in the air. There's a fielder out there, but it's going to clear her. That's going to go all the way into the stands for 6. It's a lovely pickup. Really nicely timed by Pavely for 6 runs. So she's on to 14 off 10 balls, 88 for 4.
That's what Mike Taylor was saying before you relieved him. If you if you're watching in that stand on that side of the ground, the Bridgeford Road side of the ground, can't afford to take your eyes off the ball. Whether you're watching the women's cricket or the men's cricket, the ball is likely to sail throughout the day into that stand. Lovely shot from Caris Pavely, and moves on to 4.
And the next one just a little bit wide. She pushes it out into the offside. She'll just get one into the deep there. Caris Pavely, so she's on to 15. 89 for 4. What will the Bears feel is a good score here, I wonder? They're heading short of 90 with 9 overs to go. A run of ball would get them approaching 150. I feel they need a bit more than that as Elvis comes in last ball of the over, and she swivels round Katie George and plays it to back of square leg and gets through for a single. A couple of big shots that over means the Bears are 90 for 4 after 11 overs.
Yeah, 14 from that over. At no stage have they looked to sort of try and ease their way into the afternoon's work. They've been 5th, 6th gear since the very start, haven't they? And the running early on cost them the first wicket of Abby Freeborn in just the 3rd over. Never really a run there. If Maddie Green could throw down the stumps from cover region, and she did.
Yes, they've given a few run-out chances today. That one was taken.
It's going to be Cassidy McCarthy to continue. First over went for just 5. She'll be bowling to Katie George, who's moved on to 15. First ball is hit back past her. They'll take a single. Sliding stop from the skipper. 91 for 4 at the start of the 12th over. George joint top scorer now with Izzy Wong on 16. Caris Pavely only one behind. She's on strike on 15. McCarthy round the wicket to the left-hander, and again a mistimed drive up to mid-on to Kirsty Gordon, and again she's thrown down the stumps. That's twice in as many overs that she's hit the stumps from there. It really feels like the competition getting underway this evening, especially the men's competition a little later on, everybody involved. Next ball down the leg side and pulled away for a single. Blazer at Old Trafford tomorrow. The Bears doubleheader at Edgbaston tomorrow.
Yeah.
Pavely back on strike on 16.
Decent smattering of people there. I'm not going to pretend it's anything like full decent, but sort of crowd you might get for a men's county championship match.
This one's short and very wide, and Caris Pavely could only just reach it with the very bottom of the bat and drags it to mid-off. No chance of a run.
Well, you better leaving that would be possible wide.
Yes, as Mike was saying, it's like, buy one get one free, isn't it? You buy your ticket for today, and there's 2 matches that you can come along and attend. Plenty of them will be here for the day. Next ball is lifted over the Sarah Bryson away for 4. Very nicely played indeed from Caris Pavely. That short pitch delivery just about got up shoulder height and very deliberately dinked over the keeper and away for 4. 97 for 4.
Well, teams as men's teams, but now with this new county structure, it's a little easier to do it in this competition than it was before. You can't do it for every match. In terms of not every match will match the men's fixtures, because not every county as a Tier 1 team, but where they do, and that's...
Last ball of the over, 97 for 4, and that's dragged away on the leg side for a single. Carries Pavely will keep strike. 98 for 4. Of course, I said all the men are involved this evening. They can't, of course, because 2 divisions are 9, but I think there's 16 of the 18 involved this evening. 98 for 4 after 12 overs. Carries Pavely has 21. Katie George has 17, and this looks to be the first partnership of substance. They've added 37 from 25 balls together.
Yeah, it's the thing they haven't been able to do. Been a couple of little nice cameos, but just wickets going down a little too regularly up to now. But these two are now putting together the partnership they badly needed. Kirsty Gordon comes back into the bowling. He's got one of the wickets so far, 19 runs off her 2 overs. So relatively expensive, got a wicket, and she'll be bowling to Caris Pavely. Left arm over, was a full toss, which Caris Pavely plays away too long on. Don't think it was quite high enough to be called no ball, but toss.
Bunt it down the ground when the tantalising shorter boundary at mid-wicket was available.
Well, the boundary fielders, almost all of them are on the long leg side boundary, just one on the shorter offside boundary as Katie George prepares to face. Oh, she comes dancing down the pitch using her feet, but whether Kirsty Gordon spotted her or not, she stops her playing a shot. All she can do, George, is pat the ball back to the bowler. So round the wicket she comes again. Quicker ball, which is cut, but straight to a fielder. And they end up getting a single fairly comfortably because there's a slight misfield. Not the best of throws either, but there's no overthrow. And they are through for 1. Would have been tight had that been picked up cleanly, but the 100 up for the Bears. 100 for 4. And the 100 coming up in the 13th over.
Yeah, that's Cassidy McCarthy doing the fielding.
Yeah. Perhaps over eagerness to pick it up. She fumbled it slightly. That was a flatter short delivery, quite wide, and it stopped Pavely. Pavely can only hammer it into the offside for no run. But she's offering a mixed bag here. Kirsty Gordon, she's keeping the batters guessing. That one is hit in the air but safely. There is a fielder out there at long on who stops it well, and it's only 1. Good shot for 1 for Pavely. He's on to 23. This is the moment proving a good over from a Blaze point of view. Just the 3 runs off it so far with 1 ball to go.
Marie Kelly in the deep again. It's made some fine stops already.
Former Warwickshire captain Marie Kelly. So next one, she comes down dancing down the pitch, and bowler gets 2 hands on it, can't stop it, and they're through for 1. Slowed it right down, Kirsty Gordon, but couldn't stop it. Couldn't stop them getting through for 1, but still only 4 off the over. Good over from a Blaze point of view. 102 for 4, 7 overs to go.
Yes, I think you did say 150 as a bare minimum. That's very much on. 7 overs to go. But again, it's dependent on keeping somebody there who's set through until the end. Bowling change. Josie Groves coming back just at the 1 over. Went for 9 runs.
How do you describe Blaze's colours? A bit of sort of orange, a bit of...
I said
There's
flame.
a lot going on there, isn't there?
Yeah, I said flame red with the
Yes,
the
okay.
gold names and numbering. It's sort of,
Yeah.
I guess to sort of live up to the name, I suppose, the Blaze. You can just imagine it on a cold winter's night, looking at the fire and seeing the colours flickering at the back of the half. This one's hit down the ground and it's cleared mid-off and will go away for 4. Katie George quickly out of the traps, getting down the track to Josie Groves and lifted it back overhead for 4. Useful runs these, 106 for 4, partnership 45 from 32.
Yeah, good shot, puts a bit of pressure on the bowler, first ball as well. Bears in their predominantly sky blue shirts, yellow numbers, yellow helmets and dark blue trousers and pads.
That's 30 runs have come from 19 balls. Katie George on to 23. She comes again, this time plays it along the ground, out to Maddie Green. Fires it in from long on, another single. 107 for 4. Slightly blustery day, but temperatures are, I think the temperatures are okay. You know, you're going to be all right sat outside. You don't need your thermos and your blanket.
Well, I hope you don't need your raincoat. There's
No.
quite horrible looking clouds overhead. So far, well, okay. We don't want that either this afternoon or evening.
So carries Pavely, making Kirsty Gordon work a little bit overtime with regards to her field, and she gets this one away, and it just lands inside the rope at deep mid-wicket for 4. It's a magnificent shot, and that's going to bring the partnership up. Really nice, clean pick-up. 50 partnership from 34 balls. Carries Pavely 27 of those, Katie George 22 of them, and clearly an extra involved in this partnership as well. That's just given the Bears a little bit of life, a little bit of belief as well at 61 for 4. They could have just dug in, couldn't they? Just worked it around a little bit, but this pair have opted to continue playing their shots. Pavely does again, pushing it up to Kirsty Gordon, who will throw it down to the far end to Sarah Bryce. It was more of a little bit of a lob than a speared in throw. And they get another single, 112 for 4.
Great performances from Carys Pavely on the back of a half-century against Hampshire a couple of games ago. 2 T20 internationals to her name, but she's batty at the moment. She may well earn some more.
Katie George on strike, 24 from 17 for her. Just waits for Josie Groves and then drops it on the leg side. The field is set deep. Are they going to go for 2? They are. In comes the throw, and that should be a run out. They all look towards umpire Simon Widdup at a clear sight of the stumps, and he's content that Katie George made her ground. Not out is the verdict.
Well, she dived, and she might have remembered what happened in the game of the happily, from a Bears point of view, Katie George did dive there and got in. Centuries for both Tammy Beaumont and Amy Jones in the Women's International. Tammy Beaumont's now out for 107. Amy Jones is still there on 105. 227 for 1 in the 37th over.
Katie George has dusted herself down and is ready to prepare to face Josie Groves. Just bounced down into the ground, fielded by the wicket-keeper. End of the over. 14 have now gone. 114 for 4. Another good over for the Bears, who won the toss. 12 from that one. 114 for 4 with 6 to go.
Yeah, this is the partnership they needed. A good chance to post a challenging score here. Tends to be a high-scoring ground, Trent Bridge. Seen some absolute humdingers here over the years. Catherine Bryce bowling, changing each over. She's going to bowl her 3rd over. Gone for 8.5 and over so far.
Yeah, she was a little expensive at the start, wasn't she? Bowling from this end. She's now switched to the Stuart Broad end, which looks different every time I come here. It's obviously had white sheeting up there all season so far, but now of course playing with the white ball, we've now got black sheets over the building site, over the front fascia of the old pavilion.
6 bowlers used so far by the Blaze, so some options. Around the wicket she comes. Is it straight back? Oh, the bowler couldn't get in the way of it, and it's gone through for 4. She's avoided probably a little bit of pain there, Bryce, but unfortunately she hasn't stopped her team conceding 4 runs. It was hit very well by Pavely, very hard.
It was a finger breaker, wasn't it, if you got your hand down there. Lovely, crisp shot, and carries Pavely on to 32 now from just 21 deliveries faced.
You say sorry to your teammates, but secretly you think, you thank goodness I didn't get in the way of that one. 118 for 4.
And it's her own bowling figures anyway that suffered. Equally, if you get your boot down on them, that can leave you in pain for the rest of the week as well. The Blaze think tank are just getting together here. Some of the senior players being gathered around the skipper Kirsty Gordon. just trying to find a way to stem the avalanche of runs coming from the at the moment. Bare minimum, but they should get well in excess of that.
Well, what they're scoring 8.3 and over at the moment. What have we got? We've got still the best, one ball shy of 6 overs left. So you are looking, I might be looking towards the 170 mark if they carry on at this rate. Blaze will want to get a wicket, try and slow them down, because at the moment they're going along nicely. Haven't yet called upon their overseas batter, and Laura Harris is still in the pavilion.
I think we've had a ball change as well out there. That's how hard she's been hitting it.
Yeah. Still pretty grey overhead, but the Bears trying a big total. Warwickshire have had a mixed time of it in the 50 over competition. Got a lot of close games, always on the right side of them. Bryce comes into bowl. There's an attempt to pull that by Pavey. There's an appeal for stumping. Wicketkeeper can't quite believe it's not been given out.
No, good sharp bit of work from Sarah Bryce. She was confident, but Gabby Brown, that square leg, clear view of things, said not out.
Well, no third umpire here, so always very difficult for the umpire to call those. Bryce in. Pavey comes down the pitch and pulls that to mid-wicket. Fielder will come round and stop it. They're going to come back for 2. And that's a well, that to dash, but it's a well-judged 2. The ball actually ends up hitting Pavey, but it had bounced by then, so it didn't hit it too hard. And it's 2 more runs, 120 for 4. Pavey moves on to 34.
I've seen our old chum Peter Hartley out there. He was having a look at the wicket a little earlier on, so I'd imagine he's going to be umpiring the men's game later.
Well, that's quite a wide delivery. Could have left that one, Karis Pavey. And there could be a run out the non-striker's end. She just gets back again. Katie George diving. There's always that thing. Batters seem to struggle to leave wides, but that would have been the right thing to do for Pavey. I think that would have been called wide, but because she got back to it, it ends up being a dot ball.
Rather extravagant backing up from Katie George. She was just about halfway down. I think she'd have made it to this end.
So Bryce have gone away with that one somewhat. Now comes in to bowl again. That was not as wide, and Pavey is right to play at that one, but can only get it to long off for a single. Moves on to 35, 25 balls. She goes on a bit of a walkabout, Karis Pavey. They want to really take advantage of these closing overs. They've 42 balls. They've somewhat transformed the innings.
Yeah. There's a couple of other games going on. Somerset women are at home to Surrey women, 105 for 5 after 16. Somerset and Hampshire Hawks women, 91 without loss after 8 against Essex. Wow.
Where's that been played?
I presume it's at the it's at the utility. Yeah.
Oh, it's an interesting piece of improvisation from George. It doesn't come off. She ends up virtually facing the ball, legs astride, wanting to ramp the ball behind her, but she misses. And I always wonder in these situations, you see it a lot in T20 cricket when a player's playing really well. I know improvised shots are very much part of the game, but you sort of think, well, you're hitting the ball very well as it is. Why do you have to try something so elaborate? But anyway, it's easy to say sitting up here. 121 for 4. 5 overs to go. That was a good over from a Blaze point of view.
Yeah, down at Southampton, Maya Boucher is leading the charge. She's 48 not out. Ella McCorgan 43 not out. 96 without loss it is now. Down there. Here, 5 to go then, as Clive says. 121 for 4. Bowling from this end of the ground, our end. The Ratcliffe Road stand is where we're commentating from. On the 3rd floor, Cassidy McCarthy, 2 overs, none for 13. She was the 6th bowler to be introduced by Kirsty Gordon. She's going to get a 3rd over, going round the wicket to Karis Pavey, who backs away and then lofts it into the offside, over the inner ring and out into the deep. She knows it's a long old throw from out there, so will comfortably come back for 2. The throw coming into the non-striker's end, but Katie George comfortably back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. There's the Bears' score.
Yeah, good running that time. Running at times been a little ragged, but good running on that occasion.
To keep half an eye on the clock as well. The cut-off time 15:49. This one's dinked up and over, nicely scooped away, and that'll run very quickly down towards the rope at the far end. That's very nicely played from Pavely. 4 more to her. Goes on to 41, 127 for 4. The digital numbers on the board 15:34. So we've got a quarter of an hour really. That should be plenty long enough to be beginning the final over.
Karis Pavely answering my question there. That's why she was going for the improvised shot. Hit one like that.
A lot of practice goes into executing a shot like that. Not so much into this one, a mistimed slog sweep. And they'll just amble through for a leg by. There was a lot of energy exerted into trying to heave that one out towards mid-wicket, and it just dribbles out on the run out as well. 61 for 4 when this pair came together, so they've more than doubled that. They've added 67 so far.
That was a big blow, the run out. Abigail Freeborn is a quick scoring player at the top of the order. So for her to be run out for 8 was an important wicket for the Blaze.
We're ready. McCarthy halfway through her third over. Bowling to Katie George. She's lifted up in the air and it might just fall short of the field on the leg side. It will indeed. That went more vertical than horizontal. Just landed it in no man's land at mid-wicket and they get a single. 129 for 4. She could have just dabbed that down really on the leg side and walked down to the other end rather than trying to hit it up as high as the sky. Pavely back on strike on 41. Played some big shots in this innings. Seeing it nicely. McCarthy round the wicket. Ooh, this one just hurried onto it. She wasn't really into a position to pull that, was she? It just hurried on. Pavely's hit 4 fours and a 6. Katie George has hit 3 boundaries in support. And they've been in partnership now for about 35 minutes. 129 for 4. And again, it's just too short and dinked by Pavely over Sarah Bryce, the keeper, and away for 4. Really, it's just an invitation to play that shot, isn't it? When it's banged in as short as that, and it's just going to lollop up outside the batter's eye line, just help it on its way over the keeper. Lovely shot. 133 for 4 after 16.
45 not out now. Karis Pavely, really good innings she's playing. Probably a few more in the ground now, and people enjoying. It's cranking up to be an interesting game. The Bears look like they're going to set some sort of target that will potentially give us a very interesting run chase. Kirsty Gordon's brought herself back on for her final over, 1 for 23. She only went for 4 off her last over. So she's bringing herself on for the 17th over of the innings. And she's in around the wicket. Oh, she's gone for a reverse sweep there. Katie George, I don't think she got any bat on that at all. She throws her head back in frustration. She got something on it actually, because she has been awarded a run, but it's not quite the shot she intended. She's on to 28, 134 for 4.
So Kirsty Gordon will be the first to bowl out. Catherine Bryce has had 3. Grace Ballinger's had 3. Cassidy McCarthy's had 3. Elvis and Groves 2 apiece.
And the streaky single and a dot. 134 for 4. Pressure just building a little bit on the Bears. Wanting to take advantage of these closing overs. And she goes for a huge shot there, Pavely, and misses. And has to roll back into her crease to avoid being stumped. But just Katie George is coming down the pitch. Maybe.
See, they're all in on the one on the offside, and they're all out on the fence on the leg side.
Chance to pierce that inner ring there. Anyway, she's hit that one down towards off. It'll just be a single. It continues to be Kirsty Gordon's over this, just 2 runs off it. And we've only got a couple more balls to go. And really the Bears need a big shot somewhere from these next 2 balls. So all the fielders now inside the offside for
Yeah.
right-handed Katie George. She'll be tempted to go over the top. She comes down the pitch, she goes for a big hit and comes off an inside edge down to short fine leg just for another single.
Yeah, Georgia Elvis on the one there.
Captain's effort this from Kirsty Gordon. 4 fielders inside the circle now on the offside to the left-handed Karis Pavley, who's going to try and work it on the leg side, and she is bowled. Middle stump knocked out of the ground. I'm trying some slightly more funky shots towards the end of the partnership, and it didn't really come off, but a brilliant over from Kirsty Gordon has certainly restricted the Bears' ambitions, and a very good innings from Karis Pavley has come to an end. 46 of 34 balls. She hit 5 fours and a 6, but she's gone at 136 for 5.
Yeah, they put 75 on for the 5th wicket. Katie George and Karis Pavley. There was a half century in the offing there for Pavley, but selflessly trying to play the big shot for the team, but just gives you an idea of how much she got across the stumps and missed it. She lost a middle stump. Laura Harris with a picture of it in Queensland colours, I think, on the big screen. Coming out in number 7 in the order.
She's played 123 matches in the Big Bash, Laura Harris, so she's got plenty of experience.
3 overs to go. Katie George, we've already seen pick out the boundary on 3 occasions. Now the senior partner, obviously, Georgia Elvis, to bowl the 18th over.
She's played for the Oval Invincibles, the Northern Superchargers and Welsh Fire in the 100.
Bowls, and 17 balls left in the innings.
I presume we have Laura Harris so far down the order so that she could just have a few overs of really going for it. She has a strike rate of 159 in the Big Bash, even higher in other competitions.
Right-hander just taking guard. Field in on the offside and again out on the leg side. There's Elvis in then. First ball for Harris, and she's missed it. It was full, just outside the off stump. Nicely taken by the keeper. 137 for 5. Runner ball gets the Bears to just over 150. They'd dearly love to find a few boundaries in this last 2 and a bit overs. Elvis in once more, and she very nearly chopped that onto a boot. Laura Harris. There's a precious dot balls being soaked up here.
Yeah, a couple of overs of players. The scoring rate was 8.3 and over. It's now dropped below 8 and over.
Decent over this from Elvis so far. She comes in again. And this one's hit down the ground, and there's a catching opportunity. In fact, it's over, Marie Kelly, and it's gone for 6. So, lovely way to get off the mark to announce your arrival in Bears colours for Laura Harris. It's a clean hit. It went quite a long way. Just thought for a moment that Marie Kelly would be in the game, but it just sailed over her head. So, useful 6 runs.
One of those ones where the field instinctively takes a few steps in. If she stayed right on the boundary, she might have had a chance, but very well struck. And needed that for the Bears.
143 for 5. Elvis short. This one's up in the air and she will go. Caught at short fine. So a very brief visit for Laura Harris. 6 and out. The wicket, second wicket for Elvis, with Grace Ballinger taking a simple catch. I think it was the old reverse cup. We're a long way away from Grace, but could never catch it like that myself. Getting the Aussie style, isn't it? Just reverse cupping it into her hands, or was it?
She did, Took it well, but an interesting little cameo then from Laura Harris. Got the 1-6, so
miss 6 and out.
150 strike rate, which I suppose is pretty good, but we're going to see the rising star in Amu Sarun Kama England under 19s lately.
She'll be on the strike.
Maybe.
So 1 ball left in this over. Seren Kumar on strike, and she'll get a couple of runs here. Just opening the face, getting it off the bottom portion of the bat down towards third, and she'll take the 2. So 145 for 6 at the end of the 18th.
So overs to go. So we're on the ball. We'll get them towards 160. I think 160 now might be what they're looking at. A couple of big blows. Could get them beyond that. Catherine Bryce will bowl the penultimate over of the innings. So good third over. It means her current strike rate. She's gone for 8 and over, 24 off her 3 overs. And cut-off point is dropped back a minute, so they should be okay. Need to start the last over of the next 4 minutes. She comes in to bowl, and that's a slow ball going down the leg side, but it's missed everything and therefore is a wide. Always a little harsh on the bowler because it didn't miss by much, but it did go down the leg side.
Not been too many of those in this innings, that's the wides, because generally when they've gone down that side, the batters done everything they could to try and hit them. So
the second wide conceded no balls. That's played away to long off. George coming down the pitch, but can't get underneath the ball. Can only play it to long off for a single. 147 for 6. Suvan Karma takes guard. Quite a slight figure, still very young as Bryce comes into bowl to her as she swings and is bowled. So Bryce strikes, Suvan Karma goes for 2. 147 for 7. And with 9 balls to go, Blaze are trying to keep this score down.
Yes, very brief visit to the middle for the youngster. So 9 balls left, 147 for 7. They'd take 13 from here, wouldn't they, to get to 160?
They would, definitely.
First wicket for Catherine Bryce in her final over. Imagine Grace Ballinger will bowl us out. Kirsty Gordon's figures were 4 overs, 2 for 30. She's the only one thus far to bowl out. This is Bryce's final over.
Millie Taylor, who I think you're right in saying made a debut during the T20 County Cup. And that one, maybe a low full toss by the time it reached her. She's played it onto the leg side. They're on 1 hard, but there's no chance of getting a second. So again, it's just a single. Singles are wins for the bowling side at the moment. She is jogging to get back to her mark here, Bryce. Now, the fall of wicket probably hasn't helped Blaze. They've got to make sure they're ready to bowl the last over. I presume they'll have to put an extra fielder in the circle if they are behind time. That one is guided down by George to backward point. She doesn't get through the inner ring though, so it's just a single again. 149 for 7. And 2 more balls this over to go. It's been another tidy over there, finishing the innings well at the moment, our Blaze. That one is guided to long off by Taylor, but it will just be another single. 150 up. And they're going to get this ball bowled and be ready to bowl the first ball the next over. Pretty sharpish now.
It'll be tight, isn't it? Going to be at the umpire's discretion.
Bryce comes into bowl. Batter comes down the pitch. George again doesn't really get hold of it. It is just another single. It is a very good over from a Blaze point of view. They have got to the 150 mark. 151 for 7. 1 over to extend that. They're all scampering about all over the place to get into position as quickly as possible. I think they're just going to make it.
Yeah, the board's still showing 15.49, and Grace Ballinger at this end is just about ready to go. She's handed her cap to the umpire. So last over. Interesting to see how the Bears play this.
Oh, she's got to go and fetch her mark here. Got to be careful.
3 overs, 1 for 9.
She's gone to fetch the ball, yeah. Well, it is now the cut-off time, so they're okay.
Yeah.
As long as they don't go over that.
Be interesting to see what the Bears do here, whether Katie George will opt to stay on strike and see if she can hit a boundary or two during the over. Or if they'll be just happy to take singles if they come along. Or she's got into a position just to scoop it round the corner and they'll take a single. The throw actually might have gone to the wrong end because Katie George was down on the ground when the throw came into the keeper's end.
She had to leave her bat behind.
Yep. She's able to scamper down to the other end, 152 for 7.
I don't think they can afford to turn down runs now. They would like to have got boundaries, but they can't really afford to turn down singles. And Minnie Taylor can hit the ball.
She's on strike. Another right-hander is Ballinger, then round the wicket, bowls to her, and this is hit down the ground crisply. It's going to be cut off by Maddie Green. Good throw into Grace Ballinger. Whips off the bail, in fact demolishes the stumps as Katie George dives to make her ground.
I'm not quite sure what happened. She dived and ended up on
4 balls left. We're just waiting for Katie George to dust herself down, get back on her feet. She's now done.
Is it going to be enough? That's the question.
It's enough to give us a very watchable second half of the contest. This is pitched up by Ballinger, run to point. Oh dear, there's another misfield. The Blaze have on occasions let themselves down a little bit in the field. Something to work on. Game's come round thick and fast. 2 runs to Millie Taylor, takes her to 6.
Yes, it would have been a tight 1. It ended up being a comfortable 2, which get the Bears towards 160. That'd be logical. They can get to that.
On the corner, and there's a throw this time to the non-striker's end, but she's home. 1 more, 157 for 7, 2 balls left. So the Blaze going to be set, going to be challenged to score at something around about 8 and over.
Yeah. Katie George finally getting on strike this over. Got a single off the first ball of it.
She's on 34. Ballinger bowls to him, comes down the track and will force this out into the deep. They'll be able to come back for a comfortable 2. 59 for 7.
So set a target of 160 at least when you want to get off this last ball. I think they'll get at least 1, because you usually do off a last ball. You just run like this.
Caris Pavley top scoring in the innings with 46. Katie George on strike on 36, last ball of the innings. Ballinger bowls, this is drilled down the ground. Maddie Green gets to it, and good strong throw in to Sarah Bryce, and that's going to be a run out, and it is. So only 1 there. George is run out for 37, coming back to try and make the second. It was a really good throw in from Maddie Green, and the final score, when everything's totted up and the dots are put above the eyes, the T's are crossed, will be 160 for 8. So bang on 8 and over being delivered by the Bears. The Blaze out there all congratulating themselves. They've done the first part of the job, but as I said a moment or 2 ago, I think we're going to have a very interesting run chase here. That's a total. We don't really know how good it is. If the Blaze back to full capacity, they'll fancy their chances. They'll back their chances of being able to chase it down. But we did see a little bit of turn from Kirsty Gordon, and that may well be the route that the Bears will go along.
Well, they had that big partnership, was crucial between Katie George and Caris Pavley, but the Blaze did come back well in the closing overs. At one stage it looked like 170, 175 might be on, but they've had to settle for 160. I have to say, not getting the second round of the last ball wasn't for the want of try by Minnie Taylor, who I think had run half a run. The ball was bowled, with more and more people arriving as well. Could be a good atmosphere for this second innings. There's a couple of very big inflatable cricket balls out there now. Hopefully we won't be playing with them in the second innings.
There'll be, I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 little games as interval entertainment knocks the squirrels down there as well. Thanks to Clive. We'll no doubt hear more from the great man a little later on. The lead run scorer in that Bears innings of 160 for 8. Caris Pavley made 46. Katie George run out from the final ball 37. The wicket takers, Kirsty Gordon, 4 overs, 2 for 30. Georgia Elwis, 3 overs, 2 for 27. Grace Ballin, 4 overs, 1 for 18. Catherine Bryce, 4 overs, 1 for 30. Also bowled Cassidy McCarthy, 3 overs, none for 24. And Josie Groves, 2 overs, none for 21. So it'll be a fairly brisk sort around and change over. When they come out, the Blaze will require 161 to win. They'll be out there in 5 or 6 minutes' time, and when they return, so too will the commentary. Well, hello everybody, welcome back to a very noisy Trent Bridge at the moment. The DJ was firing up his tunes during the interval. Sure, it'll just get lowered to a manageable level in a moment or two. Welcome back to Trent Bridge, where the first match in this season's Vitality T20 Blast for the Blaze and for the Bears women is at the halfway stage. We feel it's a competitive total that the Bears have posted after winning the toss and opting to bat first. 160 for 8, with Caris Pavley top scoring with 46, Katie George making 37. There were a couple of wickets for Kirsty Gordon, the Blaze captain, and a couple for Georgia Elwis as well. 160 for 8, even I can work that out, Mike Taylor. 8 and over the Bears posted. I think it should be a decent contest from here on in, because that's a total that's not over the hill and out of sight and unchaseable, nor is it a gimme. That should be an interesting little challenge here for the Blaze.
I'd concur with that. It was an innings that was in the balance for quite a while. That the partnership between Katie George and Caris Pavley, who played very nicely for 46, steadied them a lot. I think there was a danger they were going to capsize at 61 for 4 and really quit.
Our end of the ground, the Radcliffe Road end. Marie Kelly and Georgia Elwis are out there for the Blaze. Challenge is 161. Just about ready. No, not yet. Field has still been moved around, and here we go. Izzy Wong then to get us underway. Ball of the innings. That just shapes away not from Marie Kelly. Bears have popped a slip in there early on, Mike, showing their intentions.
Yes, well, if they can pick up an early wicket or two, then that will certainly make 160 look quite a demanding target. But it's quite a wide slip, isn't it? You could almost sort of 1.5, maybe second slip very nearly.
Izzy Wong in once more. Lovely rhythmical action. This is slightly mistimed, up to mid-off. Don't take the single. Is that Georgia Davis, the skipper, doing the fielding?
It's nice to see Izzy Wong back doing or producing the sort of cricket that she was until a couple of years ago. Had a bit of a dip, but still a very young cricketer, just 23. Played quite a bit already. Lovely
smooth action. Comes in again and bowls, and she has to field off her own bowling, and this time they are going to run through for a hastily scampered single. So the Blaze are off the mark. Marie Kelly's off the mark. One without loss halfway through the first over of the innings.
Yes, you need to. 160, I think, will prove to be quite a demanding chase. There's no reason that the Blaze shouldn't get that. But it's not one that you can afford to fall behind early on, is it? Even on a fast-scoring ground such as this.
So Elwis to face her first ball from Izzy Wong, and this is played with an open face, slightly uppish. Had there been anybody at sort of a deep gully that had been in the game, but there wasn't, so comfortable single down to third, 2 without loss. Imagine the two Bryces will come in at 3 and 4. Catherine and Sarah, who've been in good form. They're generally in good form. Heartbeat of the Blaze top order. Wong in once more. Full toss hit away by Marie Kelly over the inner ring and away for the first boundary of the innings. Nice clump down the ground for 4.
Yeah, it's a good stroke. Wong trying to give it every possibility of swinging, and she has moved the ball away from the right-handers in this first over. That was a little bit over-pitched. And very solidly played by Kelly without trying to hit it too hard. Just chipped it over Georgia Davis, and that's plenty.
Strip is straw-coloured. Delivery pitched up by Izzy Wong. I think it was always going down the leg side. That's the end of the over. 6 from it. At this stage, it's very, very early. The Blaze just ahead. The Bears got 4 from the first over, but then took 13 from the...
Yes, it was an unsettled start to the Bears innings where it felt like they were really pushing hard in the early overs, were very aggressive between the wickets and could have lost more wickets early on, but eventually steadied themselves to make 160. And well, the Blaze have the advantage of knowing that they only need 160. It was almost as if the Bears set out thinking they were trying to control 200. But the Blaze don't have to do that. They may have to contend with, as we mentioned earlier, this array of spinners. And the Bears are going to go with one for the first over from the pavilion end. This is Caris Pavley, the 20-year-old, who became an England international last September in a couple of T20 games against Ireland. So already an emerging player and batted very well, as we saw. Now bowling slow left arm, although with rather a whippy action for a slow left armer. And the first ball is hit through the covers for one by Elvis. 7 for none.
Yeah, going with their big guns to start with the ball, the Bears. Izzy Wong carries Pavley.
First to potentially 4 spinners. Pavley bowls and fires that in at the pads of Kelly, who dabs it back down the pitch. It's a very gentle approach to the crease that Pavley comes up with, and then the left arm, it really drives through the action. The left arm comes over really high and fires that one in at the boots of Marie Kelly, who was trying to turn it to the leg side and has taken on the pad. 7 for none in over number 2. The target 161. This is dabbed to mid-wicket, and Perrin goes for the non-striker's end, but it's a well-judged single for Kelly. And she is 6. The total 8. The skies have lifted a bit in the last half an hour. It's brightened up. There are some rolls of heavy cloud in the distance, but I think we're going to be all right. Now, an awkward jabbing attempt to sort of scoop that from a standing position from Georgia Elvis and makes no contact. Well, she's trying to toss a pancake. It's a very ungainly stroke. But no damage done. Pavley moves mid-on a little straighter. All but 2 inside the circle, of course, at this stage. And this follows Elvis right into the thigh pad. It jabs down. It was rather awkwardly played by Elvis. End of the over. 8 for no wicket. The Blaze after 2. The target 161.
Yeah, ideal start for Caris Pavley. Just 2 runs from that over. Just putting the brakes on. Georgia Davis is smart. Going to bowl the 3rd over of the innings.
Just 18, Surun Kumar. A new signing for the Bears after they became established as one of the Tier 1 teams. Was with the Sunrisers in the previous setup. Reached their first team at the age of 16. And Bournemouth to the Midlands.
Kelly got a boundary away from the last ball she faced, and once this one up to mid-off, there'll be a comfortable single there. She's on to 7, 9 without loss.
Been here a while, hasn't she now, Marie Kelly?
Yes,
She certainly used to be with the old Warwickshire setup.
Elvis on strike, on 2, goes across her stumps and tries from outside off onto the leg side. Mistimes, but gets a single. Sun has just bid us farewell once again, hopefully not for too long. It's nice to see the ground bathed in colour and shadows around the players, but disappeared for a moment. 10 without loss. Kelly back on strike on 7, given a scoring opportunity here, and she's cut this one away to the point boundary for 4 runs. It was short, it was wide, and as an opener, it's the sort of opportunity, scoring opportunity you're looking for, just to free your arms and get some runs away. Really was an open invitation, wasn't it, to puncture the offside?
It was very well played by Marie Kelly, who timed it. Didn't try and hit it too hard, but it was all timing. Hit it in the air over Perrin at backward points. It was a fine stroke.
She's on to 11. Surun Kumar bowls again, and this one's probably too wide, it is. Gabby Brown, the umpire at this end, stretches out her arms. 15 without loss. Just the one partnership of note in the Bears innings, 75 for the 5th wicket between George and Pavley. Surun Kumar's next ball is bowled straight through the defences of Marie Kelly. That's a terrific wicket for Surun Kumar to get. Marie Kelly was only at the crease for about 10 minutes, faced 11 balls, hit a couple of boundaries to show what she can do, but she's played all around one there and has been cleaned up, and that's a massive, massive lift for the Bears to get Blaze opener out so early. It's 15 for 1 in the 3rd.
I wonder if that was just slightly held back, just a fraction by Surun Kumar, because she seemed to be through the shot very early, Marie Kelly, and have been timing it so well to that point.
Catherine Bryce in at 3.
Well, it's a super start for Surun Kumar, trying to establish herself at a new in new surroundings this season. Had a little bit of action in the County Cup, which was played in the last 2 rounds of that, and in the quarter-final and the semi-start this competition in the team, and getting a big wicket in her first over.
Just about the same stage Abby Freeborn was out in the Bears innings. First ball to Bryce might have gone through everything. Let's have a little look. They've taken a single, and we're going to get a signal. Yeah, it did go through everything. That's a bye. So Abby Freeborn unable to gather it. As the Bears losing their first wicket midway through the 3rd over. They were 17 for 1. The Blaze with that bye up to 16 for 1. Brings Georgia Elwys back onto strike. She's only faced 5 deliveries for 3 runs. Surun Kumar bowls, pitches it up, and low full toss is driven up to mid-off. Georgia Davis shies at the stumps, and well, for all money, that would have been a fairly routine run out had Davis's throw hit the stumps, because Elwys was a long way short of her ground. Again, we saw a little bit of risky, almost suicidal running from the Bears, and that was very much in the same ballpark.
Yes, don't think we'd have needed a photo finish for that. 17 for 1 after 3. And a bit of anxious running.
Yeah, so important for young cricketers just to be able to judge a skull and, well, really not sell your partner down the river, but that would have been Georgia Elwys's sole doing, because she hit it to mid-off and set off running. She'd have known how hard she'd hit it, and it was always going straight to the fielder. It's just a little bit too risky.
Pavley's going to carry on. George Davis helping the youngster set the field. Caris Pavley's one of a number of very much local players to the Bears setup from Redditch, just technically North Worcestershire, I suppose. And she starts a new over by giving Elwys just a little bit of room to play a most authoritative stroke so far, guiding this on the bounce to Wong at backward point and taking 1.
Fairly traditional field setup, 2 allowed outside the circle in the first 6 overs, 1 on either side, just doing the covering, and then 4 fielders saving 1 on the off, 3 on the leg. 18
for 1. Round the wicket, Pavley. He whips through the action. They're claiming a catch at the wicket. Freeborn thinks that might just have nibbled the top edge of Catherine Bryce's bat, but no response from umpire Widdop. Or at least not the response that the Bears wanted. 18 for 1. Round the wicket comes Pavley, and this is nudged wide of mid-on. Surun Kumar quickly into field. And they so, is it 4:15? It's half term though. I don't know whether you get quite as heavy traffic at this time of the year. This is hit hard by Elwys, and he's going to get 4, beating the dive of Surun Kumar. 2 straight for her at mid-on, and away for a first boundary for Elwys.
Yeah, we've lost our view all the way on that side now, thanks to the residential apartment that's been built over the last 12-18 months. no longer see right down the Loughborough Road there into the distance.
23 for 1. Around the wicket comes Pavely, and back goes Elwes to score a run just wide enough of Harris at cover point. Makes a diving stop. 24 for 1. It's a ground that has changed a bit gradually over time, Trent Bridge, and yet has still retained its character, and I'm sure that they'll make sure that they do that with the reconstruction of the pavilion. Elwes is going to get runs here, guided this between backward point and cover, and he's going to get 4. Yes, it's chased hard out to the boundary, but Pavely gives it up, and that's the second boundary in the over, 1 for each batter. Catherine is to 5, and it's 28 for 1 after 4 overs. A couple of well-judged strokes there.
Very
from
nice.
the offside.
Yeah. Tell you what, they've got some new stewards' jackets here at Trent Bridge. The day glow orange over in the Larwood and Bow stand and the Hound Road stand. My word, see those from the moon, couldn't you? Very, very bright indeed. No problem picking out the stewards over there. 28 for 1. Catherine Bryce 5. Georgia Elwes on 10.
Do let us know if you're listening online, by the way, or watching through the stream. Your usual emails and things and that up and running, Dave?
At Brace Cricket on the old Twittery thing, X thing. Going to be Izzy Wong to get a second over from this end. Her first opened the innings, went for 6 runs. Georgia Elwes on strike. She's on 10. Wong nice and full on the pads of Elwes. Turn out onto the leg side, and it's good running. Just sort of challenging the fielder out there just to be able to fire it in from distance. They're able to get back for a couple of runs. 30 for 1. The target 161. Bears posting 160 for 8 after winning the toss. Mid on. They'll get the single. That's Stair Callis doing the fielding. That's one way of looking at that, to say, well, she saved a boundary, but possibly, and she fielded it cleanly, might have had the run-out opportunity. They took the single, nonetheless. The sun is back with us as Wong comes into Catherine Bryce, comes down the track and meets the ball on the full, and hits it briskly up to Davis at mid-off, and there's no run.
Smeared it a bit. You can email me if you want to, mike.taylor.02@bbc.co.uk. Whichever of these teams you're supporting, or maybe if you're flicking around the feeds generally, having a first look at this women's blast competition, give us your impressions of it.
Catherine Bryce on 5, gets into a position just to paddle it round the corner. Fielder there to prevent anything other than a single. Soren Kumar does exactly that. 32 for 1. Can the Blaze find somebody to do what the Bears couldn't, and let's bat through the innings, put a decent individual score on the board as Wong bowls, just held it back a little bit, dragged onto the leg side by Elwes for a single. 33 for 1. One ball left in the 5th. Scores just about neck and neck at the end of this, the 5th over. The Bears were on 35, and the Blaze are 34 for 1.
Has the makings of a pretty good game at the moment.
Yeah, the Bears had lost 2 wickets by the end of the 5th over. This is cut to backward point, and it should have been another wicket. It was a drop. Bryce has a life on 6. That was hit very, very hard indeed. But it should have been taken. It's the end of the over. It's 33 for 1.
I think Millie Taylor, the fielder, who couldn't hold that. It was hit hard, but more or less straight at the fielder. So an opportunity.
Yeah, she's got a strapping on her left hand, doesn't she? I don't know if there's a little bit of damage there that she's brought into the game, or it occurred during a very brief innings earlier on. I doubt that. Yes, it is Millie Taylor. 33 for 1. Going to be Georgia Davis, the Bears' captain, into the attack.
You expect to see Taylor bowl some left-arm spinning a bit, but Davis is met by a fierce drive down the ground from Georgia Elwis, who, after a slightly awkward start, he's now timing the ball very well. But it's fielded at long on, and they will have 2, taking Elwis to 16 and the Blaze to 5. And the wicket this time. Davis trying to turn it back into the right-hander. Finds Elwis driving to one of a ring of 5 fielders inside the circle on the offside. They can spread the field a little more after this over. Davis bowls, and it's heaved away to mid-wicket. A solid contact from Elwis, and she should have 2. They'll take 1 on the throw as Perrin gets it on the way, but it's a long corner of the ground, that. Sibley back, 37 for 1. Davis not hanging about through the overs, spins the ball like a top in one hand, and now, scuttles that through off the bottom edge. That takes it past Freeborn, and one rather fortunate run to Elwis. Skidded that one on a bit.
Always interesting here in limited overs forms where we have the DLS comparison on the board.
Usually a pretty reliable guide, I find. Bryce goes back to the next delivery and leaves it down to to long on for 1.
Well, they bang on it at the moment. I say they bang on it, the one behind. They should be 40 and they're 39 for 1 at this stage. So just pacing it nicely.
This is floated up a bit by Davis, and it tempts Elwis out of her ground to drive it for 4. Good stroke. Given a little bit more air by Davis, and picked off for a solidly struck boundary by Georgia Elwis, who's now 23. And after the 6-over power play, the Blaze 43 for 1 and need another 118 to win. So it feels like they're about on target. Now we go into the next section of the game.
Georgia Elwis, born in Wolverhampton. Birthday's 31st of May. Is that tomorrow?
That is tomorrow.
Yeah. Suren Kumar going to come back into the attack. 43 for 1 after 6. Same stage, the Bears were 45 for 2, so as we were saying, very little in it. Catherine Bryce will be on the strike. Taking a while to sort the field out here. Of course, the fielding restrictions to a degree are now relaxed. Bears men, I think, have just arrived on the ground. A little bit of excitement from the youngsters over there as they walk around the boundary edge. 43 for 1, the start of the 7th over. This one fired into the pads and there's no run.
So Suren Kumar bowling, as it were, alternate overs from this end. So she bowled the 3rd and now the 7th.
She comes from 118 more runs. Got 13 overs after this one in which to do it. Men's match follows this one, of course, at 6:30. Suren Kumar with width, and that's chopped away for 4. That really was an open invitation for Catherine Bryce. Really, it was the wrong delivery for the field that she'd got set. Just absolutely nobody down at 3rd, out on the point boundary.
That's it, isn't it? With that field, that was a bit of a gamble. Would have to be much straighter than that. Anything as far wide as off stump was, as Dave says, an open invitation to hit it there. So now they're going to respond by putting the short 3rd in, but taking mid-wicket out.
Plug the gap. 47 for 1. Suren Kumar down the leg side, and this will be left alone by Catherine Bryce, which is probably a wise thing because she gets a run and we'll have that ball bowled back to her. Earlier on, it seemed as if the Bears wanted to chase anything. It didn't matter how wide it was down either side. 48 for 1. Soren Kumar bowls again down the leg side, but into the hip of Catherine Bryce, and it ends up as a dot ball. 2 balls left in the 7th. 48 for 1. The Bears had 50 on the board at the end of their 7th over. Can somebody play a major innings for the home side? Will it be nip and tuck all the way through? This has just eased into the covers, and again a slight misfield, but skipper Davis was covering, backing up there. Maura Harris with the less than immaculate bit of fielding. 48 for 1. Bryce on 11. Last ball of the over. And this will just bisect those 2 fielders at point and at short third. Won't go all the way to the fence. It'll be just a couple of runs. So the scores are going to be neck and neck, Mark, after 7 overs, both sides with 50 on the board.
Yes, both with chances here. I think the Bears are going to want to be taking wickets reasonably regularly to try and sustain some pressure. They got a very important wicket of Kelly early on.
Mandy Fitzpatrick's been in touch, loving the commentary, watching it on YouTube at home in Mapperley. Thank you, Mandy. Glad to have you along. Imagine she's a Blaze follower. Don't take it for granted just because she lives in nearby Mapperley. For the first time.
Yes, bowled very steadily throughout the One-Day Cup. 3 for 25 in the 2020 County Cup semi-final against Surrey in ultimately a losing cause. And her first ball from the Stuart Broad end, the pavilion end, brings a run for Elwes, taking it down to deep square leg. So only 5 required inside the circle now. We've gone through the first 6 overs. This pops off a leading edge, and Baker will just not make up the ground. Running away towards mid-on, and she was the only one of the fielding team who could have got to that, but a life for Catherine Bryce, because Baker was about a yard short of making the catch.
Tantalisingly close.
Misjudged. Now Elwes goes across the crease and ends up deceiving herself, really, and to just late, and they disagree about a second run. And had the return been taken neatly by Baker, I don't think Catherine Bryce would have recovered her ground. As it is, they get 2, but they made it, there was uncertainty on the way, and they got away with another one. Yeah,
Bales went flying there. I wondered initially if it had been a direct hit, in which case Bryce would have been in trouble, but I think it was the bowler in trying to gather the ball that demolished the timbers at the far end.
26 to Elwes. 54 for 1. And a couple of near misses for the Bears in this over. Baker bowling leg breaks. Skids this one down the leg side, and it's nudged away for a run by Elwes to fine leg.
We still haven't got the flashing Bales in this country, have we? That are so popular in the Big Bash.
Baker bowls again a bit leg side, and Bryce helps it the way it's going, and it's going to get 4. The dive might have been slightly mistimed on the boundary. I'm not sure it would have mattered anyway. It's a loose line from Baker, and well played.
It's needed this from the Blaze just to stay in touch with regards to comparison, because the 8th and the 9th overs were particularly good ones for the Bears. They got 21 runs across those 2 overs, so you just want to look up at the board and just see the comparison. Just make sure you're very much in touch.
Baker bowls. This is a little bit short, and it's hit off the back foot out to the boundary for 1 run. So 10 from Baker's first over, 60 for 1 the Blaze. They keep more wickets in hand.
The evening they played at Wheatwood, didn't they, against Yorkshire, to beat them in the quarter-finals of the County Cup. And when I came back from Headingley, first day of the Yorkshire Notts game, into the hotel, there were Warwickshire and Bears kit bags everywhere. What was going on? It was at the wrong ground, the wrong hotel in the wrong city at the wrong time. But all the Bears women that are out there playing were in that hotel, and then they were all in front of the big screen watching the England match down at Hove. 60 for 1. It's going to be Millie Taylor with a slow left arm into the attack from this end. First ball is chopped to backward point and there's no run. It's Catherine Bryce on strike. 60 for 1 after 8. Two sides in comparison still neck and neck with each other. This partnership worth 45 from 33. Next ball is chopped away into the offside by Bryce. She'll move on to 20. Elvis on 27. Marie Kelly, one wicket to fall. She fell for 11 in the third over.
So long as they've got wickets in hand, this is all right for the Blaze, I reckon.
Taylor bowls, and hitting it down the ground is Elvis. That will fall well short of Steer Callis down below us at long on. Couldn't see her for a while, and then we could. She appears from underneath the TV gantry just in front of our commentary position. 62 for 1. So less than 100 now required. 99. We'll get the Blaze the points. This is hit to mid-off. And it's 4 points now, isn't it, in the blast? Both the men's and the women's. They've had a rejig with regards to the amount of points you can get for victory. The 9th over, 62 for 1. Next ball is dragged onto the leg side. Takes some cutting off, but Callis is there and is able to do it, and they come back for 2 more.
Yeah, starting to pick up runs pretty freely here. And as long as they've got wickets in hand, that's fine. They'll be happy enough with that.
Taylor to conclude her first over. She's gone for 4 so far, and there'll probably be another one here. Again, it's hit down the ground to Callis. Contemplated taking on the arm, but decided against it. So 5 from the over, 9 gone. 65 for 1. Decent over there from Taylor. That's the applause for the 50 partnership from 38 balls. Just about an even split. Them to Georgia L.
With power to add later. Keeping wickets in hand and maintaining this pace will probably do the job for the Blaze. Do really need to dismiss one of these two, I think.
6 different bowlers have been used already inside the first 9 overs. Captain Georgia Davis, whose first over went for 10, is back into the attack.
They're not short of options.
No.
So Davis for her second over and the 10th of the innings, and this is late cut by Bryce, but not quite late enough actually.
Ooh.
And the throw was a little wild.
Who did the Bears play tomorrow, Mike?
They are playing Durham, both the women and the men.
Right.
So midday at Edgbaston for the women's game tomorrow, if you want to see 2 games. Men at 4 o'clock, and round the wicket comes Davis, and the next ball from to Bryce is patted back on the leg side, no run.
That's the same for the Blaze and the Notts Outlaws at Old Trafford. Midday start for the women's and 4 p.m. for the men.
Baker bowls and Bryce cuts, and a slight misfield by Harris gives them the chance to nip through for 1. There's 2 fielders quite close together there at backward point. So gets Bryce off strike. 66 for 1 in over number 10, and this is lofted down the ground by Elvis. Solidly hit, but it rather drops actually. It looks as though it's going to fly further than that, so it sort of plugs between mid-on and mid-off, and they end up with just 1.
Sounded a bit clunky, didn't it?
Yeah. So just applying the brakes very slightly here, the Bears bowlers. 67 for 1. Davis from round the wicket, and this is very well played by Bryce, stepping across the stumps and pulling it in the end almost from a crouch position, backward of square leg for 4. What a creative shot by Bryce. And it's 71 for 1.
Wants something at the either at the end of the over or now. She waving for it. Gloves and a drink. So thirsty work.
Yeah, it's quite a humid day, isn't it?
Yeah, been out there for a while. Put 56 on now, this pair.
Round the wicket comes Davis. How was that? They'd have had to do quite a bit, I think, from a very full length, but they are going to get a leg bye. So 72 for 1 in 10 overs. The Blaze need a further 89 to win, so it is a gettable but a demanding chase all the same. And the ever-demanding Clive Egan is going to join you, Dave.
Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate you being with us today here at Trent Bridge. 6 for 4. But in terms of the Duckworth Lewis, in terms of the DLS, they are just slightly ahead. So still all to play for as we go into the second part of the innings. 161 is the target. Welcome back, Clive.
Good game, and finally a track I can recognise.
Bit of Paul Simon.
Bit of Paul.
Some
Greatest
royalties.
living singer-songwriter.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
He'll be up there?
Yeah. Saw him live when he was about 80. He was brilliant. There you go.
Nice one. 72 for 1.
Good game.
Yeah, it's just a couple of runs ahead on the DLS, but just a couple behind of where the Bears were at the corresponding stage. So it's nip and tuck. It's going to be Millie Taylor to have her second over with a left arm wrist spin, and the first ball is dragged out onto the leg side by Catherine Bryce. Couple of runs there, hitting it to deep mid wicket. 74 for 1. This partnership up to 59. Just one substantial partnership in the Bears innings, and the Blaze looking to match it or go beyond it. Bryce across the stumps and then helps it away behind square. Should be cut off and is.
Just feel the Bears need to break up this partnership pretty soon. They've had chances to do so and not taken them.
Yeah, a couple of drops, one at backward point and caught and bowl opportunity. Went to begging.
Run out chance as well.
Yeah, there's Millie Taylor. Bowls and nice clean hit this one down the ground. And this one will go for 4. Got long on out, got mid on up, and it was mid off up, and it was over the head of mid off. And just 2 straight for the fielder to come round. Nice looking shot from Elwis, who's on to 33. Just keeping pace with each other. Elwis 33, Bryce 31, 79 for 1. Corresponding 11th over was a big one for the Bears. They got 14 from it, so just looking back to the same stage, the Bears had more runs on the board at this time, but they lost 3 more wickets. Next one's dragged onto the leg side. Stair Callis down below us doing the fielding.
Yeah, I just sense this one could be. I mean, these two stay together, they'll probably get there fairly comfortably, but could be a close finish. This.
Yeah, always say add a couple of wickets to the score, don't they? Could be very different. Bryce will lift this over extra cover and away for 4. That was a real show of intent. Skip down the track quickly to Millie Taylor, and a shot of some authority then from Catherine Bryce, who's now, I think for the first time, gone ahead of her batting partner. 35 to Elwis's 34.
Yeah, good attacking intent. Well struck. Blaze just beginning to push on the accelerator.
Partnership of 69. George and Pavely put 75 on earlier. Now an LBW shout, might have pitched outside leg.
Yeah.
Umpires not given it.
That's
84 for 1 after 11.
Sorry, that was going to be the problem, wasn't it? Where it pitched. So that was a good over for Blaze. Still need to score 8.5 and over. Couple of decent overs for the Bears might get them back in the game. Izzy Wong, change of ends for her, 2 overs for 11 runs. She did see a chance dropped. Relatively straightforward one, you'd have to say, off her bowling. So unlucky not to have a wicket. But brought in now, I guess, with Georgia Davis knowing they really need to strike. Still a well spread out field, 4 inside the circle on the offside. So the right-handed Elvis, 3 on the long leg side boundary. Izzy Wong comes into bowl. That's just on leg stop, and Elvis turns around and plays that under fine leg for 4. Didn't get the line right there, Izzy Wong, and very well played by Georgia Elvis, who moves on to 34.
That was almost a welcome back to bowling duties loosener, wasn't it, really? Just dragged down the leg side.
Can't really afford at this stage. Bears. Elvis on to 38, 88 for 1. Partnership now 73. One right arm over. Bowls a slower ball, more accurate one, which is guided out into the deep on the offside for a single. Elvis on to 39.
4:45 local time, where the day's gone. Cut-off time for this innings, 21 minutes past 5, so able to get there with all.
On off stump, it's hit into the ground. It wasn't a catch, as some of the crowd I think thought it was, but didn't hold on to it anyway. Did Laura Morris, but she did get something on it.
Might have saved a couple of runs there.
Yeah. 90 for 1. Blaze going well at the moment. Wong. Oh, she's looped that one. That one come out of the back of the hand. Looping delivery, which is played to square leg for a single by Elvis. You're trying some variations here, Izzy Wong. 91 for 1. Sun shining now here at Trent Bridge. There are still clouds overhead, but the sun's poking out from a little gap in the sky somewhere. More people in the ground. Izzy Wong into bowl to Bryce. That's a full toss, always misfielded, and that's going to be 4 runs. Well, like the Blaze, the fielding has been mixed. Overseas star there.
Yeah,
Laura Harris, who missed that one.
Had a quiet game, hasn't she, Laura Harris?
Well, hit a 6. So tends to be short, sharp innings from her in her career. One comes into bowl. Bryce waits for a slow one. This time Laura Harris fields it cleanly. And there's no run, but another good over for Blaze, who are progressing towards their target. They've got the required rate down to 8.25, 95 for 1. 8 overs to go. Another 66 runs needed.
Yeah. And, some nice symmetry on the board there. Catherine Bryce, 40 not out. Georgia Elvis, 40 not out. And their partnership is 80. Problems for the Bears and their skipper, Georgia Davis. Hannah Baker bowled 1 over for 10 earlier. She's been brought back into the attack. Everybody's had 2 overs except Izzy Wong, who's had 3, and this will be Hannah Baker's second. So Taylor Davis, Suran Kumar and Pavley all have a couple of overs each left at their disposal. 95 for 1 if required, of course. Elvis on strike on 40, comes down the track and just pushes it, just eases it down the ground for a single. 96 for 1. Just can't stem the flow of runs at the moment, the Bears. Partnership up to 81. Baker cut it away towards backward point area. It's a little late on it. It goes through to Abby Freeborn. Precious dot ball. Can she back it up with another one? Well, it's cut to point, and we'll get a single.
Well fielded that time from Suran Kumar. No, sorry, from Davina Perrin it was. Very
back from mid on to long on, bringing square leg up inside the ring. Baker now to Elwis, who's gone down on one knee, looking for a big shot towards the leg side and missed it. That was well outside the off stump. Another dot ball. Only 2 from 4 balls so far in this over. And a Baker, very high down the ground. Wonder if it's gone for 4. I wonder if the umpires will have a decision to make. No, they seem content that it was low enough.
She come a long way down, hasn't she, the batter? So I think it would have.
That's the 100 up. That's the prolonged applause. Nice boundary down the ground, taking the Blaze into 3 figures. 101 for 1 in the 13th. And Elwis now on to 45. She'll turn this to square leg and there's no run, and that's the end of the 13th. 101 for 1, so 60 runs are required from 7 overs.
Well, despite the 4 coming off that over, that was a decent over from Hannah Baker. It's raining blazing just a little bit, but still lacking that wicket that the Bears need.
Scores are just about neck and neck in terms of runs. After 13, the Bears had 102. The Blaze 101. Bears had lost 3 more wickets though.
Georgia Davis is going to bring herself on for her 3rd over. Wanting this elusive wicket. It's pushed out onto the onside by Catherine Bryce. I'll certainly get one. Sun Kuma's quickly off the boundary, gets a throw in quickly. Maybe if they'd been a bit more decisive, they might have had a chance for 2, but they settled for 1.
Yeah, it'd be silly now to give the Bears an in, wouldn't it, with a silly run out, a misjudged call.
102 for 1. 59 more needed round the wicket. And that's in the air, and it's a good attempt, but couldn't hold on to it, and it's going to be a couple of runs. Fielder at mid-off had to make some ground up and down. Might have hurt her hands, actually. I think she might have hit the tip of her fingers. It's Hannah Baker, who's got slightly sore fingers.
Yeah, it's a great effort, but just couldn't hang on. Could have jarred her fingers, even jarred her wrist as she hit the ground.
She comes down the pitch again, Elwis.
Certainly smarting, isn't it? In a right hand.
I don't know whether she was due to bowl the next over. She bowled the last over, but might have to rethink that. So from the Stuart Broad end, next one. Oh, she comes right across the stumps. Bryce wasn't far off tracking it back onto her stumps. It's gone through for a single. It's got a bit of bat on it. She's trying to play it down fine with her long leg inside the circle. Almost turned it around onto her stumps. 106 for 1. And next one again, she comes down the pitch. Elwis, good delivery from Davis, forcing Elwis to adjust. She plays it to the onside for a single. Just calm things down a little bit here, the Bears. You feel that the Blazers are still in control, but just have become them ever so slightly in the last couple of overs.
More Bears men on the boundary edge, watching away to our right.
That one is full toss, which is outside off stump and is going to be 4. It was an attempt there to stop it inside the ropes, but unfortunately it was cannoned away for 4. It may have been
difficult to see the numbers from a distance.
Yeah, it may have been Caris Pavley, but I will try and firm that up for you in a mo. Who's dived full length, got a hand to it, but just ended up knocking it over the rope, tipping it past the post. Or is it actually Laura Harris? I think it is the Australian Laura Harris, in fact.
Blaze on to Nelson. 111 for 1 means they require 50 now from 6 overs.
I shouldn't have corrected myself, should I? It was Caris Pavley, she's about to bowl.
bowled a couple of overs at the start of the innings from the Broad end, now coming on at this Radcliffe Road end. 2 overs, none for 13, her figures. Carries Pavely, battered beautifully earlier on in the afternoon, made 46. She's now seen Catherine Bryce and Georgia Elwis go beyond that. Elwis on strike on 49, and will ease us into the offside. Won't get the chance of starting off her blast campaign with a half century from that particular shot. Straight to extra cover. Plenty of time. 50 required. Caris Pavely in again. Slow left arm bowls, full toss, heaved into the leg side. And that will be the half century for Georgia Elwis. Comes back, makes it into a second. She's got there from just 36 balls and with 5 fours at the crease for about 50 minutes. Nicely timed innings. Has had a life, but still there. 13 blaze over the line. Sweet bit of timing just to clip this to deep mid wicket for a single. 114 for 1.
Yeah, these two have built a really big partnership. Set Blaze up for the chase.
In fact, they're 1 away from 100, and that's a LBW shout. They're going to get the leg bite, and that will be the 100 partnership brought up. 115 for 1. So Catherine Bryce stays on 47. It is signalled as a leg bite. Century partnership.
Off 72 balls, and makings of a match-winning partnership. Even in terms of job, Bryce 47, Elvis 49 during the partnership.
Complemented each other. Run well on the whole. Elwis back on strike on 52. Comes down the track and is bowled. So they've got the 100 partnership, but no more. Breakthrough for the Bears as Elwis is bowled by Caris Pavely for 52. The dismissal coming from 38th delivery, 115 for 2.
Very good innings from Georgia Elwis. The Bears certainly needed that wicket, and they're still in this game because it's still a reasonable required rate that the Blazers are going to chase. So that wicket will help the Bears believe they are still in this. Caris Pavely certainly making himself a candidate for player of the match if the Bears were to go on to win it.
So it's going to be the sisters. Catherine Bryce out there. Here comes sister Sarah out to join her.
So these two battle finals day in the effectively this competition last season. It was a bit of a different competition, and it wasn't part of the Blast, but the T20 regional competition. Finals day at Derby. These two seem to remember put on some runs together. Central Sparks was the name of the team I was covering then, the old regional system. And the Blaze were the Blaze.
1 ball left in this over. So Sarah Bryce has taken guard. Last ball of Caris Pavely's over. Bowls now and off the mark straight away with one that she can cut away out into the deep. Come back for a couple. So end of the over. 117 for 2 means that 44 are now required from the last 5 overs at a required rate of 8 and over. And they've got those 8
over required though. Sudan Kuma is going to come on ball, having done some good fieldings. Runs around that boundary quickly, makes some good stops. She's peeling off her top. Don't think it's hot out there, but a few of the players are wearing sweatshirts or sleeveless jumpers. It's actually quite difficult to tell on the Bears kit. But 117 for 2, and it'll be Catherine Bryce to face Suman Kuma. 8.8 and over required now. The critical phase of the game, you feel. Suman Kuma comes into bowl, and Catherine Bryce works out onto the onside. Bowler fields, decides not to shy at the stumps, so through for 1. 118 for 2. So 161 for 8. Oh, sorry, 160 for 8, wasn't it? Was the Bears total, so 161 is the target.
10 more would have been very interesting.
Surankuma bowls to Sarah Bryce out towards mid-off for a single. She's on to 3, 119 for 2.
Looks a decent wicket, doesn't it? I would imagine a little later on there'll be, I think both batters and bowlers will be licking their chops at.
I presume the men are playing on the same pitch, are they?
Yeah.
Yes. Surankuma comes in to bowl, and that's a attempted cut and a miss by Catherine Bryce. Taken well by Abby Freeborn behind the stumps. She missed that because of a run out. Sorry.
I was going to say it will because the TV cameras and whatever will all be set up, won't they? They'll all be zeroed in on the strip that we're playing on.
So far so good this over from Surankuma. Bryce hits that one into the ground. Catherine Bryce to backward, but I'm safe saying Bryce, but I suppose I should say which one really. Catherine Bryce hits it into the ground to backward point. So no run there.
No.
If you can get through these next 2 balls without a boundary, it's going to push that required rate up. This game's still very much alive.
It's as high as it's been now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. And Catherine Bryce swings. Oh, she's going to get 4 fortuitous runs there in edge, beating the wicket keeper. Surankuma down on her haunches, can't quite believe it. It's a 4 that they needed, and it's brought Catherine Bryce to a half century. Second half century of the Blaze innings. She raises her bat. She's a little sheepish about the way she got to it, but it's been a very good innings from her. She gets a hug from her sister. She's 52 not out of 44 balls, and that was her 8th 4.
Streaky one, 9.12.
Surinkuma's in again, and it's a swing and a miss. Surankuma thought about appealing, but didn't hit anything. Probably wanted to appeal on the basis of the previous one. But that's even with that 4, that's a pretty good over from young Amu Surankuma. And it keeps this game in the balance. Bit of pressure on the Bryces out there. Probably a little cooler though, mind you. They're like Charlotte Edwards. Blimey, she feels the cold, doesn't she?
She likes a puffer jacket.
Blimey. Looks like she's about to climb the south face of Everest or something.
I don't think we've given the score. Well, I know we haven't given the score from there for a while. England women 345 for 6 in their 50 overs. West Indies women are just starting. The big hands were played at the top of the order. Tammy Beaumont and Amy Jones both getting centuries.
Brilliant 7 not out of 4 balls from Em Arlott at the end there. You do feel that Hayley Matthews has got to get at least 200 if have a chance.
Yeah. The latest musical interlude has been concluded. Hannah Baker, who has stopped ringing her right hand for long enough to say, yeah, I'm ready to go, Skip. Takes the ball from Georgia Day. She's going to bowl the 17th over, I beg your pardon, 123 for 2. 38 required from 4 overs. First ball is a dot ball because it's outside the off stump. Sarah Bryce looks to play an extravagant shot into the offside, but mistimed it. Didn't get anything on it as it goes through to Abby Freeborn. Dot to begin the over. 123 for 2 it remains. Next ball is cut into the offside, but they'll only get 1. And it's 124 for 2.
Just feel from a Bears point of view that the longer they can keep it this tight, the more likely that wickets are going to fall, because he's still going to have to start hitting out a bit.
Required rate has hit 10. It's the first time. 124 for 2. Baker. Oh, that's very high. It's hit straight up in the air. Should be caught, but it'll be a no ball. It is caught at mid-off. But they'll get the run that they completed, and another couple for the no ball.
Well, I think it's just 1 in the women's game, isn't it? Katie George took the catch, all in vain, unfortunately.
Umpire just having a word with the bowler there.
I'm presuming she does another one, then she's off.
Yeah. won't have meant it. Near head eye full toss would have slipped out, but it's a free hit. So an opportunity here for Sarah Bryce, who's on 4. Would have liked to have faced a few more balls, no doubt, but there's an opportunity, and she comes down the track and hits this on her way, and one bounce over the rope at deep extra cover for 4. So it was, in every sense, an expensive, loose, high full toss from Hannah Baker.
Yeah, a little unfortunate.
Up to 130 for 2. Still 3 balls left in this over. This time, hit again into that area. Lovely looking shot from Sarah Bryce. Back-to-back boundaries. Following the no ball. And Georgia Davis instantly steps in, just having a word with the bowler here, and they'll just have a little look at what they can do with regards to strengthening the offside. Katie George come across as well, just to offer a little bit of advice. 134 for 2. So we've had 11 from this over already, and there's 2 balls left. It had got up to 10 and over. It's 8.1 now. So deep extra covers. Just come all the way round a little straighter, in case she opts to go in that area for a 3rd ball in a row. There's Baker. Down the track comes Sarah Bryce. That's a good bit of fielding.
Well, that's what she's trying to do with the no ball, isn't it? The batter coming down the pitch, she's trying to loop it up and get it that sort of Yorker length to the batter when they come down the pitch. She got it right that time.
19 balls left, 27 still required. She'll hit this one to that fielder in the deep, so just the one there, 135 for 2. So 12 from the over, and considering the downturn during the middle part of it, 12 from that over. She got out of it with those last 2 balls. Means that 26 are required from 3 overs. Yeah.
Plenty of wickets in hand. That's the thing in the Blazers' favour. But
to get those wickets, to use those wickets, it'd be a dot ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bears are still in this, aren't
they?
They
are, yeah. I think this is going to go down. I think it's going to be a final over on this one. Georgia Davis hands her cap to the umpire, so skipper is going to bowl herself out here. None for 26 from her first 3. She's bowled 4 dot balls.
Just got to bowl to your field, haven't you? If if they're going to play big shots, they're going to play big shots, but at least try and make them hit into an area that you want to.
Just bringing long on into the circle, so over the top on the offside is an option for Sarah Bryce. No one on the offside boundary. And she carves that one, and there is one field on the offside boundary, but that's well stopped at back point. But then, unfortunately, a mix-up at the bowler's end means an overthrow, and what should have been a dot ball has gone for 1. It was a good stop from Harris, but the throw didn't quite come off right. And that's unfortunate. The Bears really need to tighten things as much as they can. Round the wicket is Davis. That's hit straight to mid-off, but they'll have to for the single. Yeah. Davis bowls. She comes down the pitch to Sarah Bryce. Has to adjust. Plays it to one of the boundary riders on the onside. Davina Perrin gets the throw in, and there's 1 more run, so 3 singles. Should really be a dot and 2 singles, but it's 3 singles at the start of the over. She can keep it down to that. That's not too bad from Georgia Davis's point of view. She comes down the pitch. That's in the air, but it's going to be safe over the top for 4. Good shot from Catherine Bryce. Taking a few steps down the pitch. Mid-off was up, and as long as she could clear her, that was going to be 4 runs, and that's exactly what she's done.
It was risky, wasn't it? I know you can't have everybody on the fence, but to bring mid-off up.
Yeah.
Going to bring her up again, I think.
Taylor Swift, unless I'm very much mistaken. This one is around the wickets, and that's on leg stump. It might end up being, it will be a leg by, judging from the umpire's demeanour, but it is 1 more onto the total. 142 for 2.
You've not bothered identifying the previous 8 songs since Paul Simon.
I was quite gratified. I've got a young man sitting next to him, and he didn't recognise them either, so it's not just my age.
He'll know his Taylor.
That was Sarah Bryce has a little swing, and that one hits her on the pads. So just that 1-4, but 143 for 2. So they need another 18 runs to win. They got 8 in that over. They need an average of 9 off the last 2. With Catherine Bryce on 58, Sarah Bryce on 15, trying to keep it in the family here.
It's a filthy black cloud just about to...
Don't want that.
Find itself right over the top of Trent Bridge.
They are narrowly ahead on Duckworth Lewis. Only narrowly, though.
Only narrowly, yeah. You know, if the weather forecast this morning had said expect rain about 5 o'clock, you'd say, well, here it comes, but it didn't. It said it should stay dry throughout the day, so not expecting it to leak its content. So a lot of discussion going on out there in the middle, with 2 overs left and the Blaze requiring 18. 17 for the tie. Caris Pavley, who shared the bowling duties, bowled the second over of the innings. Going to come on to bowl her final over. 3 overs, 1 for 18 her figures. So she's got an economy rate of 6. If this one goes for 6, they're absolutely delighted. Across the stumps, trying to just paddle it behind Abby Freeborn, who, well, it's given us a bye, so clearly she did. I was going to say she just got the edge of a bat on it just to deflect it into the keeper's pads, but she clearly got nothing on it, so it's a bye. So that gets Sarah Bryce back on strike. 1 from the first ball, 17 required from 11. Next one, Sarah Bryce goes across the stumps and just paddles it away for 4. Fielder threw herself to her left, but I don't think any blame can be attached. I don't think she could have got to that one, so an important boundary, and that leads the Bears skipper Georgia Davis rushing in to have a word with a young bowler.
Well, it was a very good shot. No chance, I don't think, for Millie Taylor to reach that one, but a very, very good shot, and that's taken the pressure off a little bit.
13 required from 10 now.
Okay, the Bears need to interrupt this with a wicket quickly now.
Don't drag it down the leg side. Might have been the word from the skipper. Oh, well. Caris Pavley didn't release the ball, but Sarah Bryce had already shown her hand. She was already on her way outside the off stump. In again. Again, she's across the stumps and is then yorked. So now the ball goes underneath her and is stopped by Abby Freeborn.
Harsh to say, but that was a stumping chance for Abby Freeborn, I think.
148 for 2. Difficult one to gather, going under the batter's feet. This one's heaved into the leg side. There is protection out there to stop it going for 4, but they will get a couple of runs. Nice bit of work out in the deep by Hannah Baker. That's the 150 up, 150 for 2. 11 now required from 8 deliveries. A wicket would make it very, very interesting for the Bears supporters. 150 for 2. This one is striking the pad, and there is an appeal. I think it was striking the pad. No, must have been some bat involved. 151 for 2. Fired in a little quicker there from Caris Pavley.
Yes, it would have been a very good shout, I think, if it hadn't been bat on it, because she'd moved right across the stumps. If anything, it might have been outside off stump by the time it hit her.
Sarah Bryce with that single, 22 from 15. Catherine Bryce back on strike on 58. Gives herself some room, chops it to backward point. There's a run-out opportunity here. Well, there isn't, as it turns out. There judges the single nicely. Not the strongest of throws to the non-striker's end, but we are through that over. The Bears are now looking to defend. 9 in the last over. It's 152 for 2. 9 to win. 8 would be a tie. It's been nip and tuck, hasn't it, all the way through?
Yes, I think a tie is a tie at this stage of the competition, isn't it? Izzy Wong to bowl the final over. Well then.
And she's gone at 7.33 her first 3 overs.
Take that. I mean, the 0.33 would be clever, but you take that this over. So 9 needed, as you say, 8 to tie. Catherine Bryce has done much of the work on 59 off 51
Long only bowls 6.
A low full toss just outside off stump. Catherine Bryce can only hit it into the covers for a single. So that leaves them requiring another 8 from 5 balls. One boundary would allow them to sort of dash to victory, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But if Izzy Wong can prevent that, every ball that she does will put a bit of extra pressure on the batters. Sarah Bryce has done well so far, 22 off 15 balls. Wong comes into bowl, increasing gloom here at Trent Bridge. That's hit in the air and over the top. It's going to be 4 runs. And that's a big step towards victory. Sarah Bryce gets the 4. And 4 now required to win the game.
Yeah, as you said at the start of the over, a boundary really takes a lot of the pressure off. 4 from 4 now. They know they can pretty much have a little look at the next 2 balls. If there's a free and easy opportunity to score runs, will get the job done.
Georgia Davis having a chat. Do they bring more fielders in now, knowing that Blaze could do this in singles if they so chose? Batters have a chat. There's plenty of room for singles on the leg side in particular. Or does she try and carve it through for the winning shot on the offside? As one comes in to Bryce, who's hooked. That's in the air. It's going to be safe, and they will get a single. It will just be 1. Davina Perrin with the throw from the boundary, fielded it well on the bounce. No chance of making it a catch. And 27 Sarah Bryce now 3 required off 3 balls.
It's been a good game. Good game to start the blast.
Yeah. Have a chat, because once you're in the last over, time is no longer an issue. And what are they going to do here? So they're bringing Point in. I think they've got an extra fielder inside the circle on the onside. Yeah, I think they need that. Of course, it does offer a hole in the offside, but they have to try and stop singles even, try and get a dot ball in. That would make it interesting again. Izzy Wong into Catherine Bryce. Away side, she's wrapped on the pad. She's going to get through for a leg bye, which keeps the Blaze on target. 2 required. 2 balls to get them in. And they're going to use up every delivery that they need to get there. Now the fielder on the offside boundary comes in for Sarah Bryce. If she got a wicket here, goodness me, that will put pressure on the new batter. Because, of course, whether the batter's cross these days is no longer relevant. It's been a few years now since that rule changed. Now they've got 7, saving the 1. Saying to Sarah Bryce, if you want to win this game, you have to hit it over the top. So Izzy Wong in to Sarah Bryce. And that's short. She's in the high in the air. She should be caught here. And she is. And it's going to go down to the final ball. Sarah Bryce hits her hips in frustration. She got underneath that one. And there is the change of rule. Now how that's affected them, because in the olden days, Catherine Bryce would now be on strike and no real problem. But it's going to be a new batter who's going to have to come out and try and hit 2 off the final ball to win, or 1 to tie.
Crikey, crikey, crikey. Izzy Wong banging it in.
Georgia Davis with the catch, by the way.
Yeah, it was short. Sarah Bryce trying to pull it, went straight up in the air. It was taken at mid-off inside the circle by the Bears skipper, who's got all of her teammates around her in the huddle. Sort of thing you see right back an innings.
Well, what price a tie?
Well, one run would do it.
The Bears, Warwickshire tied their first 50-over cup game against Hampshire at Edgbaston, when Georgia Davis was run out trying to get the winning run off the final ball.
It's the New Zealander Maddie Green on debut. Out there for the Blaze.
Oh, you're an overseas player, so come out there and win the game. Now everyone's going to come in now, pretty much. They'll have 1 or 2 on the boundary. It's an interesting one, this, because if you can keep 1 or 2 fielders on the boundary, you might be able to restrict them to 1, and that, of course, will be enough to get the tie. So, dot ball or wicket wins it for the Bears. A single ties it. Anything more than a single wins it for the Blaze. There are 7 fielders inside the circle to save the one. Couple on the boundary. Here we go. The match is decided here as Wong bowls to Maddie Green, who guides it to backward point and will get through for the one. The fielder is... they're going to try and get a second, but that'll be a run out. It was actually quite a good decision, I think, made there by the Bears. They were shouting to the fielder not to throw. She could have shied at the stumps, and had she hit, they might have won the game. But more likely is it would have given the Blaze a second run. So we have a tie. How about that for the start of the competition? The Blaze finish 160 for 3. Maddie Green getting a single off the last ball. Catherine Bryce a terrific 60. And they will share the points after all that. They get exactly the same as they would have got if it rained all day. But
no, they don't.
Girdle.
No, they don't anymore. They've changed the they've changed the points this season.
Oh, okay.
4 for a win, 2 for a tie, 1 for rained off. So they've they've finished each side getting 160. The Blaze 160 for 4. They finished up on Catherine Bryce, who won the toss, opted to bat first. 160 for 8. The very first wicket to go down actually was a direct run out or a direct hit from Maddie Green, and she was involved right at the death there as she was run out herself. Bears 160 for 8. The Blaze 160 for 4. All the drama of short format cricket here at Trent Bridge on the first day of the blast for these two sides. I know one or two sides played today, but what a thrilling encounter between these two. Many congratulations to the Blaze, many congratulations to the Bears. Thanks to Mike Taylor, thanks to Clive Eakin.
The men have got something to live up to now.
Very much so. We've got another game to look forward to bringing you in an hour or so, but we're up and running, Clive. Did you enjoy that?
We are, yeah. Great game, terrific game. Good high scoring, but not too high scoring, just about right game, and in the balance throughout, really. I think the Bears will be pretty pleased they got away with a tie in the end, because at one stage it looked as if it was running away from them, but they stuck at it. I mean, get the point.
They did indeed, nip and tuck all the way through. Many thanks, everybody, for your company. Those of you that will want to stay on and follow the men's match, which kicks off at 6:30 this evening. Notts Outlaws here facing the Bears, the Birmingham Bears, as they were the Bears now. That starts at 6:30, comes up on Radio Nottingham at 6:25. It'll be on the club's live stream as well, and also online on the BBC Sport website and app. We'll be bringing you commentary from that one, as I say, just before the start at 6:30. Many thanks for your company this afternoon. It's finished in a tie between the Blaze and the Bears.